Said I had to take care of a few things before I came back on stream. I had to see if I had any obligations to anybody and to do something about my hair. Hi. And what I decided to do about my hair was put a hat on. And of course, I put this hat on, right? Of course, thank you. It was like a buy one, get one at a fucking Charlotte Russe sale. I don't got no shame. The other one's got a mushroom. So I was thinking about like what I was gonna do tonight, and I was like, I guess I can just do the mystery deck. We'll do this stupid twin flame reading that we started the other night, and like whatever I won't channel. And then I was like, dude, if I don't do it tonight, I'm not gonna do it till this weekend. Fuck that. I gotta choose someone tonight. So I was looking at my book, and I realized that I had made a note of exactly because the mystery deck that I use for twin flame readings is the same deck that I use for my alien channeled messages because Dink probably knew that, but nobody else did, right? Um, or like you just know I do channeled alien messages and I am the alien conspiracy theorist. So either way, for everyone else, good point. Very fitting that I had the alien deck out already and I wasn't sure I wanted to do any channeled messages like Halloween Oracle tonight because I have a big weekend packed. We're planning on doing Comedy Saturday and Rock and Roll Sunday because Sunday is Nico's birthday. And I hardcore possess Nico. I'm gonna try to do sig breaks instead of like having to switch streams. We're gonna see how it goes. She likes smoking while she talks, so she gets really irritated if she can't like chain smoke. So we might have to adjust to that. Like she's a pretty fucking fierce woman. That's why I like want to do a whole celebratory thing and then probably sleep for 3 days or whatever. But I also wanted to fit in more readings in a week than just doing like big banger weekends. So today I was like, I don't think I want to use the Halloween Oracle. And so I was like, who can I throw in there that would be easy? Like, that's so cheap, but whatever. I was thinking Alex Trebek because he's on my list and I just feel like he's kind of said he doesn't have much to say, but he's very like grateful for the whole life experience. Oh my God, we should do like an Alex Trebek, like Mr. Rogers type vibe guys night. That would be cute. I will keep that in mind. I will make note, right? Like, that would be cute. I can't say Bob Ross because the hair really throws me off. I just really can't do Bob Ross. I just don't vibe with Bob Ross. I never have. I've never really admitted that to anyone. I'm surprised I just said it, but he's like not a priority, and I know he would fit in that category for everyone else, but I'm actually not really, I don't think it. The hair was too much. It was such a time, and I can't. I don't want to get into that. It's too exhausting right now. Alex Trebek and Mr. Rogers and anyone else who like is deceased and would fit in that vibe. We'll see. We'll do a night like that. So tonight, I was like looking at my list and I remembered that there was a few people that when I was pairing people up, there was a few that were like, what about the alien deck? And I was like, whoa, I had not considered that. And it was, I don't know, because like there's channeling, which is like vocal, the messages. But then there's also scribing, right? And I've always been a writer for a reason, and I make weird doodles and stuff. Remember the Agatha Christie dot here, where it was like, if Coolio could talk to absolutely fucking anybody, it would be Agatha Christie. So there's this little note of alien, and like the arrows to who requested that. Now, because the idea is that the deceased messages are supposed to be tied to the Halloween Oracle, there was the sacrifice of me doing my request where, like, Frida night we had coffee because I didn't have time to get wine. John Lennon made a coffee drink for his birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do the offerings, I guess. The requests is what I call them. But the request for these three people was the mystery deck. So I realized, like, oh, that's why I was confused on what the fuck I was doing tonight and how I could incorporate both the mystery deck and the people who, yeah, duh, requested it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the three people who wanted to do alien channeled messages was Marilyn Monroe, Douglas Adams, and Alan Watts, which I think 2 out of 3 did not surprise me and 1 did. And I think maybe you'd be surprised which one, because it was Alan Watts. I was not expecting him to want to do alien channeled messages because I have read with him before with the Halloween Oracle, and I think maybe without any deck. I can't remember. He's been very present. This energy. mm, They all kind of have their lips sealed. They want to talk about it, but they don't want to say too much, and they wouldn't want to put me at an impasse kind of vibes. But like, interesting takes for sure. So like, that's what tonight's about. Um, I guess. Hell yeah, I'm gonna too. But I'm gonna do the twin flame reading first. Yeah, like I'm gonna do the twin flame reading first because it was out on the deck. Maybe not though. I don't know. There was kind of some cards and I left them in piles, but the piles got knocked over and it's kind of a mess. And I feel like there was a call to do a twin flame reading and then it didn't work out. Remember, I was just like tired and I bailed and was like, fuck this. But I left the cards out intending to come back to it. Um, but coming back to it, there isn't much here still, and the message isn't clear to where I think I maybe misinterpreted the twin flame reading for the mystery deck night of oracle messages. I think that's what it's about. Um, but I will honor these 6 cards that were not in the scattered piled mess because I can see them as very clearly feminine and masculine. And it seemed okay, see, and that's why it's like I will honor the fact that we thought and we were gonna get one for people who actually like those and whatnot, because it has been a while and it is like a kind of exception during Halloween, but it's good to take breaks and get acquainted with the deck before we jump into some high tech shit, highly classified stuff, I guess. And work out the ongoing readings that we were doing. Because I mean, we don't really need to do Thoth deck right now. We don't really need to do the demons every night, although I do want to check in with them soon. I don't think I can handle it this evening. We'll probably do it tomorrow and not this weekend. Sounds good. I will fit y'all in on Thursday. Yeah, so tonight, Marilyn Monroe, obviously she had her, ties to the government, so of course she believes in aliens, right? Douglas Adams wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, once again, very obvious, and he would be like stoked to do some weird alien thing. I don't think he really necessarily even did or didn't believe in aliens, but he's like obviously highly interested, so he was like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. The fuck, I'm sci-fi. Like, I am sci-fi guy. And Alan Watts, like I said, kind of threw me a curveball. Thursday, I want to write a sonnet with William Shakespeare and Kurt Cobain. I'm not sure why. They kind of paired off natural. Taurus and Pisces. It kind of made sense. I was like, okay, let's do it. I think it'd be cool. Never really talked to Shakespeare that I recall. Maybe once, a little bit. But I'm excited for Thursday. And then Friday, I'm taking the night off channeled messages or Dragon's Blood. I like Rose, but I do love Dragon's Blood. I really do also love Rose, but like Dragon's Blood seems obvious. I need to be drinking more water tonight, that's for sure. And then Saturday comedy night. We'll have the lineup later, and then Sunday rock and roll. Nico's birthday, so you can imagine it'll be people she knows. Like, me too. I was like, whoa, am I doing too much? Do I need to take a longer break? And it's like, nope, just needed to recollect my energy after that wicked Sarah Paulson wave every month. So yeah, I should stop doubting my capabilities of my bounce back, even though sometimes the bounce backs are like, I really cannot take another fucking round of this. I swear to fucking God. And then I get another one and it's like, ow. Knowledge. Bam! So let's do this twin flame stuff first, and then we'll get to the... I want to grab stuff like this for some reason. I don't know if that's a thing for somebody. I don't know why it would be. It could be like an alien thing. It could be a reminder. I kind of feel something in my throat. It's a weird feeling. I also want to light some incense. Cool it. Cool it. Cool it. Yeah. This would essentially be Knowledge is power. I've always been a huge fan of Schoolhouse Rock, especially Schoolhouse Rock rocks. Are you fucking kidding me? That is half of my intelligence, I think. Okay, and then top of the deck, ninth position Earth. Feminine, coming back with the offer, eyes wide open, third in check, in the clear, spiritually aligned, and the masculine sitting back, learning, taking his time, mastering his skills. It looks like both counterparts are in good places. Coming together, on the other hand, I think is still kind of murky water for some reason, for complicated or myriads of reasons. Could be anything. But there's like an obvious tone to some things. However, when there is no clear communication and a connection, both sides will choose whichever perception they want to because they have no clarity on what the reality of the perception is. And with some things, you can only meditate on it. Some things naturally dissolve, and some things refuse to let up. And like you have to be able to know the difference between such things. No, but I have always kind of like not wanted to, but like I do sometimes on the stream, but I do need a better way of conveying them because you gotta, I don't think that doing them live is like a really responsible way of doing it. So I mean, yeah, we can make that happen for sure. I ain't got shit else to do but serve. Boom. So both parties will decide what the reality is, and when you decide your reality, you essentially create it and you like make that your perception to be the creation. Does that make sense? So like it seems like I have a row of three on a row of three, and the top three are looking pretty fucking feminine, and the bottom three are clearly all masculine. So it's like 3 cards from the divine feminine half and 3 cards from the divine masculine half. We got one face down, and we have a pile of face down future cards. So 21, perception, the femme. This is how I knew it was the femmes, because she's very much in position, putting her foot down, putting that sword in. Kind of feels like King Arthur shit, right? She is demanding her seat at the fucking round table. Face down card. Here's the thing. The divine feminines have been leading this dance, okay? And femmes can be anybody who aligns with femme energy. You can think traditional gender roles if you want to, but also think about your placements being earth and water are the feminines and air and fire are the masculines. So however you see the complements, however they fit for you, whatever your yin yang, you know. The feminine is hiding something for sure. But what is it? Because on the other end is 20, desire. Same energy. Like, regardless of whatever that thing is, whatever is in between, whatever's standing in the way or being blocked, suppressed, unaddressed, or hidden, has no effect on the way that they feel. Okay, I'm gonna see what the masculine cards are before we reveal the femme card because it seems like a big secret. Okay, 3, the youth. Masculine could be dealing with like children or just like reclaiming their youth. I think femmes did that this year. I did anyway. I definitely, well, I never really lost my youth. But the masculines are kind of reclaiming their youth. It doesn't really feel like children. It would have been like the child. It could be that, but it definitely feels more like reclaiming your youth. And we've got 11 healing. So very much put them together. It sounds like inner child wounds, right? Addressing healing and dressing those wounds to create space to essentially make new ones, because then we have 12th position air, the scribe. Write it down. You are the record. You are the keeper of things. You have everything in writing. Don't lie to me. I gave you the only copy, right? Like, that was the whole point. So, who could it be now? What's being hidden here? What? I mean, it's that card. I don't recognize that one. Self? No. What is that? Emotion and intelligence. What a good secret. Emotion and intellect. We've got 11th position, water. The femme. I knew this was the femme because desire is a masculine looking card, but this is the femme presenting, and water is the feminine element. It was phased down. Of course, I knew this was the feminine. Underneath it all, what's the hidden secret? What's the big secret, feminines? Emotion and intellect. Great. Creation is being poised, eloquent, secretly much better than you think I am. Incredible. We think you're, etc. But what's the blockage overall? Because it seems like everything is aligning there. So, what's the... Nothing. Really. Reach out, femmes, reach out. Seems like... Kind of actually looks like femmes did reach out. That's the mystery. Because here's the feminine energy. We have 6th position water. She's in her absolute glory. This represents the white witch in my life. She blessed this whole deck, but this card is her. She's a Cancer. This is water. She is the white witch of the West River. I don't know where that came from. I was thinking whatever. Either way, represents big goddess energy, big magic energy, and she's reaching out her hand. So why is this what's the blockage? Is that the feminine reached out? Why is that the block? That makes 0 sense. Okay, so kind of sounds like a stalemate. That's kind of the thing with these connections, is that when knowledge, okay, so the masculine knows, the feminine offers, extends, and there is still no connection. So, okay, then the end. The end. Kind of. Okay. Sleepy town. Yeah, like, there's not much you can do. It's like, okay, it seems one-sided then. It seems very on par, equal, good timing, everything, but somehow the misconnect there is like, okay, oh well. Okay then. So, very, very, very odd energy. This is a little stack face down, kind of like the future events that unfold, probably for the individuals at this point, because it seems like some have come together in these connections, some haven't, but maybe it's still tumultuous for those connections because of the timing and everything. Let's roll this ad. I skipped my opener because I ended with like a fucking 3-minute block last stream, so let me just do a 60 seconds and I'll be right back with the stack. Oh man, lag. Okay, let's see about this deck. It's back. Okay, we're back on cue. Okay, so let's see what this first card is. We've got third position, water. Feminine, brace yourself. Look at that. She's strapped in. She's ready for the ride. She's like, whatever may come, may come. Looking towards the future, like, let it come at me. Okay? It's actually like the future femme looking at life coming at her and knowing how it happened or whatever. Next, the mother. Okay, 4. The mother. Lots of major arcana in this read, which I feel like is kind of not necessarily a rarity, but I feel like it doesn't happen often with this deck. The mother energy doesn't have to necessarily be a maternal, actual mother, but it's about stepping into the theoretical ultimate creator and divine align energy, right? Like divine feminine stepping into the role as a caretaker and create, like I said, creator, but knowing that it takes a village, so you don't have to play the specific role of a mother to have that energy about you, right? This is like, it's almost, it's probably the Empress, I guess. Yeah, it's number 4, so it's like the Empress of this deck, right? Boom, the masculine comes back with a full cup. So the femme was like offering a perspective, essentially, by offering a cup full of water, essentially, with that other card. I think I said essentially twice. I hate that I'm repeating words a lot, especially on stream. That shit pisses me off. I'm a writer, so I'm very conscientious of it, which is also annoying because other people probably wouldn't notice if I didn't point it out. It's hard to unhear. There was that card of the third eye. She's holding a bowl and it looks like it's got almost nothing in it, but it's water, liquid, probably like offering a drink. But with water, it's very much about perspective and mindset and fulfillment. So it's like offering not some material offer, but something beyond that, something kind of not necessarily more fulfilling either, but come up, Will. Fourth position, Earth. The masculine's coming with a full bowl of fruit, like an actual offer, like fruitation, right? This is the harvest. He like has his little, is that a sickle? Whatever that is. He's out there hoeing the shit, collecting the harvest, and coming in saying, like this goat dude. He's coming in and saying, hey, I have this for you. Like, thanks for that perspective. Thanks for the taste or whatever, counter offer, full bowl of fruit, you know? Maybe that's a gay joke. I'm just kidding. I don't think the cards would be putting in a fucking, yeah, right? Thanks, goat dude. Very appropriate because it's Earth and Capricorn is a fucking water goat, so that's funny. And I love this card. Oh, hi. And thank you. Yeah, hell yeah. It's getting deep tonight. Thank you so much, by the way. I love you so much, all of you. Thank you for tuning in. 7th position, Earth. Look at this shit. Boom. Both of them just boom. Chakras aligned, roots planted, trees blooming, everything just grooving. There's a snake and some fire, like regeneration of Earth around you, but also in alignment to the point where you work in tandem with it instead of letting it work against you. Holy shit, bro. Crazy, isn't it? Boom, gay shit. I knew it. I'm just kidding, but I'm not. This is so homoerotic. Do not lie. I'm sorry. I know that I do kind of make everything gay because I myself am a big flaming fucking queer or whatever, but at the same time, this is extremely homoerotic, especially compared to the rest of the deck. What is that about? 2 naked men touching each other in places that are not revealed. I don't know what other energy. He looks like he's about to fight him, but no. What's with the hands? Come on, that's homoerotic as fuck. So it could just be ego and unresolved sexuality among the masculine. I don't know what that is. Or it's just honestly representing in this scenario of like all this alignment is that there will always be some kind of uh, there will be some kind of quarrels along the way, no matter how good a connection is, especially because this would be like twin flame, flame on flame kind of thing. You know what I mean? Rather than masculine on masculine energy, but it is super homoerotic. Don't fucking lie to me. Okay, so the deck, by the way, hi, the Lone Rose. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said it like that and then grabbed my tit. This is such a weird time for me in the month. I guess I thought about Moira Rose when I saw your name and then did Moira things, but I have no other excuses. Cool. So, anyways, I'm sorry. Please don't ask for a reading. Okay, so you're tuning into this weird twin flame thing. It's not really. That's what I'm saying. None of the other cards align with this homoerotic business here, dude. I swear to God. It's more like this. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck, to be honest with you. I think this is absolutely gorgeous, and this is definitely more of the tone. But this deck is, I got it used. So it came in a bag. There was no box. There was no booklet. I just looked at it and I really wanted it. I love buying my decks used, and that's not for everyone. I'm so sorry. But a friend of mine investigated the deck for me, and somehow I don't even know what she would have typed to describe. Her investigative skills are on par with my own, I would say. I didn't want to know because I called it the mystery deck, but then she's like, I found out. Do you want to know? And I was like, this is the perfect way to find out. Please tell me. And I can't fully really remember. I want to say it's the Golden Gaia deck by not Raven Simone or Ravenclaw, but something very similar to that. I know that sounds terrible, but that's all I remember. Sleep is precious, and you can get it later. I do not like the attitude of sleep when you're dead, because the joke is you actually, one of the only things you don't do when you're dead is sleep. So it's kind of like, you should get the rest in now. It's going to be eternity over there, right? So anyways, the Maiden. Soft femme, regressing back to childlike energy with the feminine, but not necessarily a bad thing. The Maiden is similar to the, well, it's number 2, so it's the High Priestess, I guess, equivalent, but not necessarily. And definitely a journey, right? And then, boom, 12th position, Fire, the hero. That's kind of masculine. It looks a little femme swaying, but it's very masculine energy because it is a fire card. And the hero is a bit of a masculine title. So in the end, it's almost as if the roles are to say that the maiden was on her way and the hero saved the day, etc., etc. There's a rhyme for everything, and something about asking Alice and doing whatever we please. Boom, right? As Femme is extending an offer and ready for anything. The fuck? Bring it, bitch. Bring it. Bring it. That bitch was for the masculines, not for other feminines, by the way. There was an offer, and now there is a stream, right? Ready for anything. Feminines are like, I'm extending my hand, I'm extending my love, I'm extending my ideas, my creation, my whatever, and strapped in, ready for the roller coaster. Fuck it. You do or you don't. You know? Like, oh well, time's up. This is like the end of the road. This is the divine union time, so if you like miss it, then it's like, oh well, you probably die. You know, at least one of, look, some homoerotic stuff, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, we don't have to go through all that. I'm absolutely wicked with these cards. Yeah, you hate it. I know. There's part of you that absolutely is just like, oh my God, why is she reading me like that? The femmes are like, oh my God. That's actually a masculine card. The masculines are like, who, me? Acting like a little, like innocent lady. Who, me? I love that. Not that it's so simple, but yeah, trading in the crone for the counselor. Trading in the matriarchal aspect of power dynamics for counselor more balanced and unbiased energy, right? Like, that's cool. Releasing the grip on the magic that you've been doing. Because it's unnecessary. Because it's very unnecessary. Because it's unnecessary. I'm tired. Death, rebirth. Okay. They're probably fire signs. Guaranteed. Never met a fire sign who was not like driven like with the embodiment of masculine energy. And I love it, personally. I think it's a great compliment to me. Earth sign. Very femme. Scorpio rising. Think like a man too, though, low key, because my Aquarius moon. It's my masculine placement, but I'm very femme presenting. So, yeah. I love to add the complication of the zodiac to gender norms because it's very fun. It's very cool. And I'm just into all kinds of worlds. So death and rebirth for the father figure, right? The mother was like, the feminine was getting into mother energy, while the masculine is rethinking his identity as such. And third position, fire, he's going on a journey. He's like, this is all too much. I'm out. But while he's out, he's like, ooh, seventh position, air. Now I am wise. Now I have learned so much. I have been through the desert, and I have come to realize that, yes, this is my destined cup or whatever. But then eighth position, air. So like one more thing, and will it be out of balance? But look at the balance is not a good trade-off. One sword is in position, ready to be held, gripped, fight, stab, whatever challenge may come. The other's face down and not serving the masculine at all. Like, at all. It's like you're holding on to something that's causing pain, bleeding, and it's like, oh, it's the balance of life. It's like sacrifice, but it's actually kind of insane. Like, you can't just like hold on to suffering and be like, that's the price I pay for happiness. Like, no, you'll find more suffering along the way. Don't hold on to any of the suffering. You know what I mean? You gotta let go of the suffering part. There will be more suffering to do because look, love is there to guide you, to heal you, to kind of call you and tell you, just to hear you, would you care? You know, like that kind of, I don't know why Purple Bottle came to mind with this love card. It's a major arcana in this deck, which is cute. And how did this fucking card come back up? Who the fuck is gay? Who the fuck is gay? Whose twin flame is a man? Like, what is that about? I can't figure that out. Why does it keep coming up? Where did this even come from? Did I even shuffle the cards? I had to have, because this is all new. These were not in the previous reading, and then this for the third time. Come on, man. What is this weird ego stuff? Just go kiss him or something. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's also okay to like grasp your feelings on loving someone without it being sexual. It's very difficult sometimes for the masculine energies. But this is such a weird energy to me because like it was always kind of representative of like this like weird gay stuff. But in the context of the reading, it's very batshit bizarre. There is such thing as bisexuality, and it's okay to have more than one person that you love. No. It's come up 3 times. You were here for the second one, and this is coming up a third time. So there's just like some gay shit going on. But like, who cares? Who's not down for some gay shit, bro? Maybe this is the wrong person to... I'm the wrong person to... I don't know. Yeah, like, who isn't here for it? You're good. It's okay to be bisexual or whatever. Like, chill out. These masculines are fucking out of whack in a way, but also like on the right path. But it's like such a struggle because it seems like the burden is just not admitting who they love. So, good for you. What? Okay. Cool. You're probably not on a twin flame journey then. What the fuck difference does it make? Did you not know that I was like, what? How did you get this far? And not like the topic of soft, masculine, and or queer, and or bisexual love. How did you even get past the door at that point? Why did you... How'd you not look at the flyer and be like, I don't think this is for me? What are you talking about? What does that even mean? In what way do I not like men? Big secret, big secret. There's a man in this room right now. Oh my god. Holy shit. Yeah. There's a man in the room. Oh my god, I don't hate them all. Who knew? So crazy. Ah, you hate men. Nah, come on. Chill out. Relax. Relax. I actually probably... No, stop. I cannot. You know what I mean? Like, relax, bro. Fuck. That's the thing when this kind of stuff triggers that kind of reaction. It's like, yeah, this is probably your sore spot. That's the whole point of the reading was why does it keep coming up for the masculines, not the feminines? The feminines have long accepted anything about the masculines being like whatever, you know what I mean? And the masculines are like, do I want to kiss my bro friend or what? What is that about? And it's like, it's maybe just platonic love. It's normal, but if you want to like kiss and find out, you definitely can. Like, it's also not a big deal. Stop tripping. Why does it keep coming up? These like will they, won't they, masculine energy card. You all saw it. And if you're just walking in, you didn't see it. But bet if I shuffle these long enough, it'll come back out. It's really weird, right? Kind of like, what the fuck is that? Nobody cares, though. It's like 2022. Yeah. It is very unfortunate to love men. But like, oh well, right? Okay, the self. It's who you are. It's who we are. It's who anybody is. I would probably say I'm more pansexual than anything. Sure, yeah, I've loved men. I've loved fucking everybody and everything ever in my life, bro. What do you mean? That's extra woke. Just kidding, but I cut the deck and saw that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it's like, why are you tripping? There's a certain prototype that is undesirable across the board, I think, sure, but like, I don't think anybody's counting. We've got ninth position air. This is another one of my favorite cards in the deck. A lot of them showing up tonight. Okay. And fifth position air. Blind to it, taking the mask off, but still not seeing a damn thing. What is this card? The self. Whoops. Okay, I think we might move on to the extra parts of my evening. I'm starting to stuff coming in my ear where like now that we started this stupid fucking twin flame stuff, it feels like it's very present where the masculine the feminines. Look at all three of these ladies were like, do you want to get into it? Femme, earth, femme, water, and femme presenting air. You want to get into it or not? Like, kind of energy. But I am getting the frequency change where I feel like we might move on to the second part of our evening. Before we do anything, I'm going to roll a 60-second ad and recoup and probably readjust and explain what the fuck these three people listed in my title have to do with one another when I be right back. Don't forget water. Okay, I'm back. Refreshed my own water. I feel like if it weren't for like my obvious kind of like indicators of who I am as a person, I would look like a metalhead right now. Like I'm wearing a chain, a black beanie, a black shirt with an obscure band in red writing. Okay, and my hair. Do I look like a metalhead? Because I am not trying to be a poser. I don't listen to metal at all in the slightest. Okay? I think, like, no. It's nothing against it. Just, like, really doesn't pump my adrenaline. It pumps my anxiety. I like some Aussie stuff, but that's, like, metal. I look like a metalhead. Anyways, okay. So, kind of I feel like okay. Let me just. You're right. Let's get to know each other before we jump into this. Um, that's good. Okay, so genre. I think I like psychedelic music honestly because Matt Berry is like the best thing I've ever heard in my life. He's a person, but his music is like transcendent to me, among other things. Kind of like into punk stuff, but also like psychedelic kind of punk, artsy, whatever, like Velvet Underground, Laurie Anderson. Good kind of examples. Peter Gabriel, progressive, stuff like that, for the most part. But also anything. Kind of more into artists than genres, if that makes sense. Because, I don't know, I do really like funk and some styles of rap or hip hop. But like the artists that I'm really into are just the weird as fuck, pretty much. Weirdest shit I've ever fucking heard, like Animal Collective, back on psychedelia. Yeah. Shit like this, more punk music. I don't know, I listen to a lot of like, I'm really, I guess because I'm a deep thinker, that sounds, I mean, it sounds so stupid to say that, I feel like, but I didn't realize it needed a clarification because some people literally talk to me and they're like, yeah, I can't. The fuck? What? And I'm like, damn, probably should on my forehead. I just resonate more with music and sounds in combination with words of value or something that has some weight that'll push me around emotionally. And that's kind of more my thing than anything. Cool answer. Cool answer. Cool answer. Cool answer. Cool answer. I'm sorry. Who's making fun of me right now? God damn. I think it's me, but you never know. Okay. So, ladies and gents, and theys and thems, and anybody else in any alphabet, I kind of do tarot, but I also kind of just a bit more of a medium, total conspiracy theorist, and a very sensuous goddess woman, bit of a witch, things like that. Sure. I have specific decks for specific readings, and usually I just take requests for the evening, but in the month of Halloween, I decide to do Halloween channeled oracle messages, and I do more demon tarot. It's not real tarot, it's oracle. It's called demon tarot. It's not a tarot deck. They're all individual. And I let them give their own advice across the board when usually they're restricted things like finance and chores. And then my Thoth deck, although it is Aleister Crowley. I guess, okay, we'll probably channel Aleister Crowley with the Thoth deck, obviously. Duh. Glad we had this conversation, y'all. Put that away because that's just regular daily shit. And then I have like my love decks and whatnot. So my Halloween oracle is what I use for channel messages typically. And my mystery deck, as I call it, is what I use to channel aliens and other such entities. Gods, goddesses, guides, galactics. Yeah, I don't follow these people's teachings in the same way I didn't listen to the Beatles before I talked to John Lennon. I didn't fucking read anything Crowley wrote before I got that deck. And I didn't know what the deck was when I got it, because my first tarot deck came to me in a pile without a book, without a case, without any knowing of what it is, or who Aleister Crowley was, honestly. And that's why I still get my decks like that, most likely. And there was just one time I channeled him and he told me about the deck. It was pretty cool. It was like really insightful. It's like, yeah, I guess like love his take on tarot. Don't care for a lot of his teachings. I feel like he was kind of like a fuckboy, incel, douchebag, edgelord in a sense. It was like, I don't know, his brotherhood mentality. Any brotherhood mentality is creepy. But people change a lot in death, and he was a prick. Like, nobody cares. Like, dead people will take it, you know? Yeah, like, he had his connection or his good ideas, but his personality was like, it just, I think it paved the way for a lot of, like, weak or even evil individuals to come to play, if that makes sense. And it, like, wasn't not his intention, but he kind of wished he took his own craft more seriously, in a sense. From what I get. I mean, we'll do that a different night. But, yeah, I would not fuck with him if I didn't have that deck. But it was the first deck I got, so obviously it was meant for me, you know? But yeah, he was kind of like low-key racist and shit, was he not? He was very kind of anti-women and was like, right? Like, that's why I don't read his books. Because it was like very egocentric and masculine, male-driven. And I just like hate the divide so much. That's like my whole point in even delving into gender identity and sexuality on a tarot channel at all, is to say how, you know, magic is necessarily inclusive. Kinda, yeah. And using magic for it. But, like, his use of magic, questionable. His magic, undeniable, is basically what it comes down to. So, yeah, he wasn't a Nazi, probably, but also, like, wasn't he kind of, I'm sorry, can we look up when he was alive real quick? Because was he not pre-Nazi? Did he like predict Nazism and that was what he couldn't fucking, yeah, he was born in 1875 and died in 1947. He truly was not a Nazi. I don't know what that means. I guess I'll look it up. Oh, yeah, me too. That makes so much sense. I never knew that was a term. I have been trying to fucking figure out what chaos magic truly means, because I feel like that's what I do. Because literally, people are like, oh, I follow this spell. And I'm like, what do you mean you follow a spell? And it's like, okay, Chaos Queen, chill out. Chaos Queen. That makes so much sense. Thank you for that. I'm a chote. I mean, what is it? Chaos, probably. Fucking pervert. Okay. Listen. Thank you. I love to learn along the way. Okay, so this deck is typically used for gods, goddesses, guides, galactic channeled messages, whereas the Halloween Oracle is strictly for the deceased and entities that fuck with the deceased, such as Satan, Hades, etc. Anybody can come up. Bet Persephone would. Maybe we can do that this November. That would be cool. What is that attitude that just pops out sometimes, man? Something on the tip of my tongue. I don't know. So, kind of started using this deck a little bit more this year. I bought it last year, used it more this year, and while I was using it, the Twin Flame thing came up. So, it's a bit of a stretch, but we just connect on this channel. We connect the Twin Flame experience or connection of divinity to be a bit influenced, at least, if not actually extraterrestrial in binding. Okay? Like, I could not even really explain how I would get that jump other than that's just what came up when I was using this deck that I really like and has been faithfully accurate, right? All of my decks are. So I trust what they tell me. So if they're like, yeah, you have to use the fucking galactic deck for twin flame readings, I'm like, how does that make any sense? And they're like, trust us. It makes sense. I'm like, okay, I guess it's like an alien thing then. Like, what? It's like otherworldly connection. That's crazy. Maybe he really predicted like the Nazis and he couldn't live with himself because of what he saw and he knew it was coming, but there's nothing he could do and he just fucking lost himself into madness. That actually makes a lot of sense. We'll get more on that later this next week. I feel like I'm really busy this week. I'm glad you I brought it up, but I'm glad you stopped to say, because it's cool that we have a build up for that reading because I wasn't really sure how that was going to go down. Okay, so you're wondering how all this is connected now. You're like, what the fuck is she going on about these decks for? Let me tell you. Let me tell you. It might take me a while, but I am pretty unforgettable. But what I really meant is unforgetful. I'm good at remembering things, even if I get very sidetracked. So, in combination of all these things, despite the fact that what I'm doing tonight is going to be channeled messages from deceased people, which I would typically use the Halloween Oracle for, these three people in particular requested that I use the mystery deck, which they were very much aware was intended for alien channel messages. When worlds collided, can't really say why, but I think we'll find out if this works, and I think it will, because I feel like I can definitely feel some presence with each individual. So, in this next 5 minutes before I roll an ad break so that our reading doesn't get interrupted, let's talk about these three people a little bit, throw out any information that you already know about them if you feel so inclined. I will start, because I do not fact check or verify my readings. You may do that. I may be inaccurate about some things. I've done enough personal readings with the scope of the channeled Halloween Oracle where I've gotten feedback directly from people who know the loved one that I'm speaking to know that my readings hold weight and have accuracy. However, these are unquantifiable because I have zero connection to these people's living relatives, nor does the internet have an infinite access to their entire life story, nor do I have a way to verify, and thank you. It is the vibes. I love this stuff, and I'm glad that you do too, because I know it's not for everyone, and I'm surprised I have 6 viewers right now. Especially on a fucking Wednesday. Y'all are the shit. Y'all are the titties. I don't really like the phrase, the shit, because it's weird as fuck. Like, let's just be honest. Who with the scat fetish decided that was gonna mean something cool? That was weird. So it's uncanny I said that. Maybe someone else says that. We should stop saying that. It's very, very rare I do in the context. So that's kind of fun. Marilyn Monroe. 6 feet tall blonde. No, she's not 6 feet tall. She's like 5'4". Gemini sun, Aquarius moon, from what I understand. Queen of Fire probably has a Sagittarius rising. Could be Libra. 8th position fire, Queen of Fire. So, yeah, I need to light one too. I'm gonna light a Gemini incense for Marilyn because she's first and I love her so much. Norma Jean. Goodbye, Norma Jean. I never knew you at all. Okay, I don't think she has much. I think she would so much rather take her time talking about other stuff, and she totally, respects art, but can't stand any of it, to be honest. Very tragic. It's very tragic, and that's why she's like, I'd much rather talk about aliens and how that influenced my life than my fame. Yeah. I ain't watch this shit. I don't watch anything though, especially not. I don't have Netflix for a reason. Like, I intentionally do not have Netflix, right? So I'm gonna be bummed when that fourth season of Sex Education comes out. But come on, or fifth. I don't know what season they're on. I love that show. And Umbrella Academy, same. Amazing. It's bad enough they buried her next to Hugh Hefner, isn't it? Goodbye, no shame. I never knew you at all. All right, so I don't know any more words to that song, so that's gonna get real annoying and is probably super depressing for everyone. So that's all I really know is that her life was tragic, and people were like, I do know a lot about her life, so when we get into the zone, we can go over that together theoretically. But Douglas Adams, I know very little about. When somebody requested Douglas Adams, I kind of didn't know who it was, and I looked him up and like, oh, I've read Hitchhikers. I love that book. I just recently even watched the movie. I loved that too. Can't think of anyone cooler. Like, what a great suggestion. Would have never thought of it myself, but really glad that came up. Perfect. Of course, it's very obvious he would want to be in all the sci-fi stuff. That makes 100% sense. I kind of want to see when his birthday is, but I'm hearing Virgo out the gate, but I could be totally off. Could be completely wrong. I really don't know anything about him or his life. So March 11th, Pisces, kind of close. Because mutable energy, maybe he had a Virgo moon or rising, but we would have no way to really verify that. He died during Taurus season though, so Pisces plus Taurus is pretty much Virgo. That's very cute. He died. He was born on the 11th of March and died on the 11th of May. That's very, very fucking cool. That's not technically a completed life cycle, but pretty on point. Because who doesn't love 11/11? And what the fuck happened to my bangs? Oh my god, y'all! You were gonna let me look like that? You were gonna, y'all. Oh my god, what did I? Moving on. Okay. Yeah, if you missed it, great. Don't watch the replay. So, don't know much about Douglas Adams. And then, are you a Leo? Leos always notice when my hair is fucked up. Even when I did the pre-recorded videos, I would know when the Leo was watching. I'd be like, yeah, I'll fix it. Same with, I think, Sagittarius. Um, yeah, they are. I know. I love bangs. So let's roll the ad break and then we'll talk about Alan Watts and then we'll get into it. So, yeah. Oh, what are y'all talking about right now? Okay. Fall is great time for bangs. Bangs look good on everyone unless you have a really small forehead, then it is admittedly awkward. I personally have a massive fucking forehead, which you can only see a fraction of because that bitch is like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, you have no idea how much forehead I have under this hat if you are just now tuning in. So bangs are great on me. Pretty much everyone looks good with bangs. You could always straighten your hair, source, if you really want bangs. I would not recommend the clip-ons, but if you gotta do it, you gotta do it. You're gonna look very emo anime vibes. Um, Perfect if you got a big. Thank you. I think I'm so fucking funny. My forehead is not normal. I'm telling you, it is a fucking hat right now. I am Prince, yes. Oh, you were going for Prince vibes. That's come on. That's like me revealing Oz behind the fucking curtain when I did that just now. See how normal it looks with bangs? See how it's ginormous? Yeah, don't lie. Okay? There's no need to flatter me. Um, well aware. My grandma's like, you know what they say? Big head, big brains, and big ass or something. I don't know. Love it. Love her. Okay. LOL, he's short and kind of a questionable character, but I feel you. That is cool. I do appreciate froze for sure. I know it could be hard to maintain depending on your hair texture, but it's a great look. Definitely. Okay. So, back to the thing. Cool. So, we know Douglas Adams is a Pisces and we don't know shit else about him. And then Alan Watts. I think he's a Cancer. He I know a bit more about. Still not much. I don't really understand what his profession was. Maybe he was like really a philosopher. Were those lectures we were listening to on YouTube? I don't know. I just know he became no, I'm not doing Prince. I just know he became a really severe alcoholic and ended up pretty much killing himself because he was so sick from drinking. Like gave himself alcohol poisoning or liver damage, liver cancer, something like that. In the 70s, he died. And he was, I want to say he was only like in his 40s. That can't be right. He looks old as fuck. No, he was older than that. And he was a Capricorn. Okay. I kind of wrote a song. I think I'm going to try to make an original song this week. This is very ambitious for how much I'm planning. That's the thing, y'all. When I have these like knockout days of like bleeding out, I'm anxious, my skin feels like violence, I can't do anything, I have a migraine, turn the lights off for like a week straight. I come back like, and I go way hard. I go too hard, where it's like I'll be burned out next week, but this week I'm gonna get everything done. You know, balls in, balls out, cunts in, balls out. That's fucking pool night, baby. See you next day. Okay, so that's great. Balls, cunts in, balls out. I love it. Um, cool. Really glad that we're all here right now for these great conversations. Yeah, so he was a philosophical entertainer. 58, not in his 40s. Okay, so like I said, don't really get what he did. All these lectures, like I don't know. He was like a Buddhist, I guess, like some British dude. I ain't even gonna lie, he looked pretty good too. Like I cannot sit here and pretend like this man's not pretty attractive. But that's the thing, Capricorns age so well, like it's kind of dumb. Goddamn, let's fucking get it. So we're starting with Marilyn Monroe, and then we're gonna check in with Douglas Adams, and then we're gonna move on to Alan Watts. Here's the thing: Marilyn Monroe had a very tumultuous life, as we all know, and they made it even worse because of a lot of this stuff that we're bringing up tonight. So, like, the part of her fears for me, in a sense, but I myself am a fearless freak, so I can rationalize that someone else's ideals are not necessarily my own. This is not something I hold as true as much as I'm channeling a message in someone else's opinion and view. So we just both wanted to make that very clear that this is not a hardcore theory, diehard kind of thing. It's just a story, is how you think of it, okay? She's very emotional about it. I almost started crying just talking about her earlier. That's when I was doing this, and then I kind of started laughing because I was trying to play it off. But she's very emotional about the whole thing. Her death, her life, everything. Being an icon is so questionable, but like amazing at the same time. So we'll get to that. Douglas Adams is going to be a little more lighthearted because, again, he's the sci fi guy. He finds this stuff interesting. As much as he created such a beautiful, vivid depiction, like with words, and I don't know if he had anything to do with the movie, he wrote something that really resonated with someone like me who, like, has always believed, right? But he himself, I don't think he ever truly believed in it. And he thought of his creations as creations. But now he's questioning that because he's like, were these divine connections like I'm doing, right? Where he's like, was I seeing something that I didn't realize was there? Like, what the fuck's that about? So it's not that he has no reservations, whereas Marilyn has like all kinds of reservations. Douglas is like, this sounds very fun and cool. I'm a sci-fi guy, but have emphasis on the fi part, right? And then Alan Watts, yet to be revealed why he chose this deck or this night, because it was the three of them, and I just happened to have this deck out and realized that this was the night to do it. And then I have my week paced out pretty well to stay decently on track with my readings and not be completely exhausted because I am so this but in a good hype way this week. I'm getting it all done. So Alan Watts, questionable, shall be revealed. Has probably little to do with aliens, but more to do with the frequency and connectivity that certain species of alien represent. Thank you. Um, I knew that was coming, and there was a delay, so it was funny that I said it like before anybody said. Yeah, thank you. Cool. Now that we're all caught up, I'm gonna sneeze a bunch, and we're gonna delay the reading a little longer. Okay, it's so weird, y'all, because I literally will not sneeze throughout the entire day or night, but almost every day I have yet to figure out the pattern because it's like I'm not writing it down. But it seems like around the same, it's not even the same time every night. It's just, it seems every night I have, thank you, Danke, the salute is a cheers. What? Salute. It's interesting choice. Happens once a day pretty much where I have a sneeze fit. And then I don't sneeze any other time. And it's like, what is that? Is it like a temperature thing? Is it like I don't know. It's so bizarre. I don't know. I have no elaboration because I have no explanation. I just sneeze that much once a day. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just kind of. I usually take my ad breaks every 20 minutes if you're like new on my channel, and that's really just so it doesn't pre roll any ads on me while I'm doing my reading, and so that we don't get interrupted with ads. Um, and I hate getting off schedule for that, and I don't want to have to roll another one in 10 minutes. But it's confusing. I gotta go blow my nose, y'all. I will be right back. I'm real sorry to do this. Gotta give me a second, but we're bracing in for a big reading, anyways, so I probably should take a few minutes to gather myself. I know I've only been streaming for an hour, but I'm about to not come out of this for probably the next 3. So everybody take their minute. I'm hoping 3 to 5 minutes, but get your water, get your snacks, incense, candles, whatever the fuck. Yeah, breaks are healthy. And I sometimes will run myself into the ground if I have the energy, and like tonight I do. But the sneezing reminds me that I have to take a break, and we love fucking froggies. I will be right back, and we'll get into it. Okay, love you all. Thank you for being here. All right, y'all. I'm back with bangs. No, I'm kidding. I had bangs the whole time. Okay. Fuck. Is this really gonna? No, it's not really gonna lag. What's up, everybody? Listen. I kind of just. I feel like I gotta get this out of the way before I get into what we're doing here. If you missed the rundown, that's too bad. You'll figure it out along the way. I, on my break, realized I still had some coffee sitting in my French press from like days ago. I made cold brew, but really, cold brew only needs to sit like 24-ish hours, you know what I'm saying? I don't remember when I made it. So I was like, I gotta pour this shit. And I didn't feel like going to get a cup, but I had like an almost empty peanut butter jar. And so I was like, I'm gonna put the coffee in there and I'm gonna shake it the fuck up. No, not day old. I'm talking like it's not about, listen, it's not about how old it is. It's about how potent it becomes the longer it sits in coffee grounds. It's cold brew. It's just getting like, it's just steeping. It was steeping for days is what I'm saying. You know? Fam, what? No, I won't. No. It was only like half in there. So I put it in this peanut butter jar. I just didn't want anybody to be alarmed when you saw me sip out of this. Because I needed to get it out of coffee grounds. You know? Like, yeah. No, it's nice. It's actually nice. It gives it like a little bit of a creamy flavor. And it's crunchy peanut butter, so I randomly just get a nut. That's literally, oh my god, that's I said that. Ah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We call it cold brew because it's the brew coffee, but whatever you're referring to sounds cool. 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 So there it is. Here we go. Here we are. Here it is. Kind of seeing I've been seeing Marilyn Monroe. That's how I knew that this would be a good turnout when I looked at my list and it hit me of what I was doing here and how I clearly was prepared to do this for the last couple days. And I incidentally did not really stream. I mean, I streamed Monday, but I didn't do any real readings Monday. I took Tuesday off, or was it Sunday that I was tired and decided not to and took Monday, Tuesday off? So I'm very much prepped for this. It was still kind of a surprise, which I love. It was fun. I like being able to channel people ahead of time if they like to rehearse, essentially, or as a means to get to know them so that I can tell more of their story faster, in a sense. But with this particular deck, in this particular night, in this particular way, these are like the secrets of mankind, okay? Like this is the depth of these readings are like infinite space, deep ocean, okay? Like I've mentioned, it's kind of like she's very, very nervous energy around it, but feels safe among like other believers in a sense of kind of just having been controlled her whole life, like having the narrative controlled so much that she's not a super powerful force necessarily, not in her life, but now. Where it's definitely like I can see her quietly, like quietly. I can't really hear her voice. I get what she wants to say. It's almost like she's whispering in my ear, but it's almost inaudible to me, but I kind of know exactly what she's saying. I can feel it right here, like as I'm saying it. I don't know if she's trying to slip in, because I'm like, it's definitely not a channeled message. It kind of feels like it could be possession. God, it's really been a while. Alright, I'll go with it. So, just so everybody knows, I was a singer before I was an actress. I wanted to sing so badly that when I was working at the local diner when I was 15 years old, they would call me Not Tracy Ellis. Who the fuck is Tracy Ellis? I just think of Tracy Ellis Ross. That's wrong era, so I don't know if there's a musician named Tracy Ellis. But I kind of want to look it up. I shouldn't interrupt during these things, but sometimes it's good to know. Yeah, only Tracy Ellis Ross comes up. Oh, Tracy E. No, that's exactly what I did not mean. Maybe there's a word I'm trying to say. Like trachea, Tracy Ellis. Tracy Ellis. Damn, they know what I'm up to. Tracy Ellis. Nothing. Trachea Ellis. Got it. Trachealis is the trachealis muscle is a thick band of smooth muscles that bridge the end of each. Okay, got it. She kind of had to quit music because when she when she when she was 15 working at the diner, they called her Trachealis because she was always singing. But I think she had to quit music because there was a boy who choked her. She was like 16 at the time, and he damaged her because she turned him down or something. Like everybody, like I don't know, she was still a virgin at the time. Like she wasn't famous yet. She was just some girl working at the diner kind of thing, and didn't even have her blonde hair or anything. I'm picturing her with blonde hair, but she's telling me like didn't have her blonde hair or anything. And he did so much damage to her throat that she never sang again, really. Like she did, obviously, but that's how she got her iconic voice of like that soft, breathy, like it was damage to her trach, which is ironic because it was her little nickname at the diner, because she was always singing, and she had a much more beautiful, powerful voice before that, but it's nauseating how deeply embedded these traumas were to who she became, and it's kind of hard to fathom that her whole entire life and personality was based upon these very specific events of especially sexual violence, because she was pretty, as if that's like justification for people to fucking act crazy about a teenage girl. He was like 19 or 29, like something where it was just like damaged her fucking trachea at the age of 15 for not going out with him. Okay, and she's a slut, and that's the fucking voice that we all know as Marilyn Monroe's voice. Is, oh, I didn't do nothing. It was not. It wasn't acting. She had fucking damage. Like, that's crazy. That's so crazy. Because it just like, I know, like I said, I know a lot about her life. I've read a lot about not like in her biographies or from biopics or whatever the fuck kind of corny message they're trying to sell you on her. But I have investigated a bit about her life because I was curious about her, in the same way as I was always very curious about Betty Page. I always very much align with Betty Page, love her image, she's such an icon, her style, her attitude through her whole career. But things were not always so great for her, and she was also very mentally unstable and also was like a very confused person and kind of under fire. Why didn't I think to talk to her at all? What the fuck? She would have been my choice. I was trying to take requests mostly, or people who like came up, so maybe for her birthday, whenever that is. Cheers, Betty. Shout out. So Betty Page's life was not really great either, but it was more mental health issues. So it was kind of like that was around probably the same time I started looking into Marilyn Monroe and wondering about her life as well, because there's people will tell you whatever stories they want to just so they can oogle ogle at these women for as long as they can. Like, oh, she was just some whore. It's fine. Like, no, she was a fucking deranged woman who was fucking holding people at knife point when it comes to Betty Page, right? She was like in and out of a psych ward. What do you mean? I mean, still gorgeous, still a goddess, still doesn't take away the art and the career of everything else that she did. But she was a dynamic person. She was not just a sex bomb, okay? So same thing kind of applies with Marilyn Monroe, where like she was a person, but more so than these layers of insanity, not necessarily just insanity or sexuality. She had these layers of trauma where it was like from an early age. And she's like, I guess it's because my papa left when I was 6 years old, blah, 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 blah. Sure, don't blame yourself, sweetie. Like, this is fucked up. So there was just really no one looking out for her because everyone saw her mom in a certain way because her dad left, as if it wasn't his fault for leaving, as if it was something that she did when really he just was like a piece of shit, got fed up one day and just left. Like, back in those days, like, it couldn't be any other way other than, oh, she must be this and that town floozy kind of sacrilegious woman with the fucking gorgeous child, creepy, creepy stuff, right? So by the time she was 15 and filling out and just her happy-go-lucky self, hello, Gemini sun with an Aquarius moon. Like, yeah, they are, by the way. I really did when I was at the psych ward in Detroit. I had the best fucking, some of the food, though. Like, I don't know who the fuck was in the kitchen, but like, I will never forget the way that barbecue chicken tasted. Like, they had some of the best food where I was like, don't get me too used to this. And then it was like, absolutely not looking at white walls for much longer. And I ended up being there for 8 days. It was quite an experience. But dude, yeah, the meals, I was like, God, what are y'all charging? I'll stick around. Like, give me some clothes that fit and let's fucking boogie. Like, I'm eating. I gained weight in that week, probably like 10, 15 pounds. I think they didn't release me until I visibly gained weight because I was starving myself kind of energy. Kind of energy. Okay, queen. Cool. So anyway, um, Marilyn Monroe, like on the other end of things, like think about Gemini's. Gemini, playful energy, just like radiant sunshine, torture chambers on the inside, like kind of, but just like happy-go-lucky, absolutely sweet, and that's who she was, and who she always wanted to be was just like happy, and in like a ray of sunshine. But people sexualized her probably from the age of 9, because once again her dad left when she was 6, and she's didn't even really start developing at a young age, but um, she was always conventionally attractive. And, like, gosh, did it ruin her life in so many ways. Where, like, why were men looking at her at the age of 9 and waiting to hook her up with their sons? And it was just weird. So then, like, once again, by the time she was 15, she was completely unaware of these dynamics, going through them, but then is harassed and beaten by strangers. Like, this was not her ex-boyfriend. This was a guy who cornered her in the back when she's taking out the trash and broke her fucking tray. Like, that's crazy. And all we remember is that she's some stupid blonde with a soft voice. Like, please, please. But women in Hollywood didn't get to speak their fucking stories back then at all. So what was she gonna do? Get involved with the Kennedys? Okay. Like, there wasn't so many fucking stabs. Like, there wasn't so many reasons for that. Like, she literally was seeking asylum, and he was seeking to get his dick sucked. Like, it was basically just that. She was literally, like, desperately seeking protection from the fucking president because she got so kind of not necessarily paranoid, because I mean, obviously there was some drug use in her lifetime, and there was some kind of like obviously, like the sexual issues. There's so many other moments over time and things that she would regret or other people would come to regret and even apologize to her for. She had a lot of friends despite having a lot of enemies, and some of the people that wronged her in her earlier days and earlier career actually would come around and be like, I was a fucking hound. Like, I can't believe. I'm hearing the name like something similar to Nick Estrada. I don't know. I feel like that's not necessarily a person. I feel like Eric Estrada, but Nick Castrada? I don't know. Nico Vela? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Somebody who did something to her, bad contract or bad photo shoot or something. While they were both still alive, he actually came around and was like, "I was a hound for that. Like I was a dog. I sold you out to the wolves for my own job." Like he knew he was protecting himself and putting her on the line, and just figured, that she would forgive him later. And even in the moment, she did forgive him and was like, "Okay, I guess you had to do what you had to do." But it wasn't until years later that he even realized what he had truly done because of everything that was unfolding. And it's not that it came too late, but it was like many people in her lifetime were like, "Oh my God, you are great. How could I have done this, let this happen, be this way, do these things?" It was very much like a karmic effect of like, people realizing like, no, I guess I didn't treat you right, but it kind of just never ended. It never ended. And I think it's because I always wanted that closure from my father, but he never returned. Like he never came back to tell me that. So, and now I know he died when I was 27, but at the time I didn't know. And then she only lived to be what, like 30, 35? Like young, right? And same with Kennedy, which is also like odd. Oh my God, yeah, she was like 34? I hate trying to do math. 36, and so is JFK? Or no? I don't know, I'm started reading some of these headlines. Sorry, y'all. Oh, JFK was also a Gemini. That's very funny. That is very funny. She died August of 62, and he died November of 63. That's wild. Do y'all see how important that is, though? Because they were both killed. Like, that kind of stuff cannot just be made up and fabricated and covered up. Like, people are literally trying to say their affair was a hoax. Because what? You want to, like, preserve Jackie Kennedy's fucking identity crisis? Like, fuck you. Like, don't try to fucking write Marilyn Monroe out of history. Like, what she wasn't doing was revolutionary. 1, sex work. 2, conspiracy. Come on. She was the founding lady of all modern conspiracy. Come on. She gets no credit for that. Everybody's so caught up on her bombshell fucking bullshit. Yes, she had an amazing acting career. Okay. Like, she did some fucking work, bro. Have y'all seen Niagara? Because she legitimately was a queen on the silver screen. Some like it hot. Jesus. Fuck yeah, I do. Okay, Marilyn Monroe, amazing actress. But the level of icon that she was far beyond her looks. And anyone hardly remembers her movies. Right? Like, I watched another one this past year. It was really good, and I can't even remember the title. She's an amazing actress. She was so ahead of her time in that way of like, kind of just, her roles were so, I don't want to say transcendent, but like she was a good actress. And it's like, oh, look, she's so beautiful. Like, cool. The one thing that almost killed her several fucking times in life is the only thing anybody remembers, instead of the fact that she literally was so convinced about these fucking aliens. That's how she met John F. Kennedy. Like, nobody, of course, no one fucking knows that. Everybody acts like she was introduced like she's some fucking whore or something. No, she was fucking seeking asylum, and Marilyn Monroe. She could meet anyone she wanted to at any time. She literally can walk up anywhere. That's how it was back then. Like, because of her looks. So it's just like such a shame that people don't seem to know anything about her either. So how old was Kennedy? Also 36? Crazy. Crazy. That was like a warning shot to her. You know what I mean? Kind of wild. Kind of really wild. Am I lagging or frozen? Holy shit, I am really still sometimes. That is so creepy. Okay, y'all. What's up? Yeah, super interesting. Super interesting. So when it comes to the biopic, I hope that answers your question. Why are my bangs getting fucked up again? Did I touch them? I'm confused. Anyway, when it comes to the biopic, I hope that answers your question. I don't know what they chose to put in there. And she's fine with being a sex worker. Between the modeling and the allegations, if you will, and the affair with the president, which she did greatly benefit from, even if not necessarily financially forwardly. Um, no problem with sex work as her identity, but to pretend like she didn't work at all is such a crime to humanity. She laid down some of the literal groundwork for modern conspiracy. And whether people think that's like a credible achievement or not is really not up to them, because thousands, millions of people, so many different spin offs, and all of it, like, not that she would stake claim over that, but like it's a whole culture, and it's a whole, like the Matrix era of conspiracy, right? Rabbit holes. And, without her being able to come forward and risk it all by saying this. Yeah, I didn't really either until I started reading about her life and reading about her connection to the White House, and how there was a lot of cover up surrounding the relationship, and they did maintain that they were not having an affair, and it was very much seen as a cover up for the things that she was really there for. Like, when you look into the alien conspiracy community, or when you look into JFK's death, like, people who obviously don't believe that what's his name? I almost said Patton Oswalt obviously didn't kill Kennedy. Harvey Lee. I don't know which assassin is whose. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a patsy. Like, if you go down that JFK rabbit hole, yeah, that I think Marilyn went to him rather than vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. The backwards camera really confuses me, obviously. And you're like, why are you trying to fix your fucking bangs right now? You're telling us about JFK, Marilyn Monroe conspiracy theories, and you think we give a shit about your stupid fucking beanie. Well, yeah, because there's an alien on it. You're a fan or you're not. Anyways, I am fucking funny. Okay, so it's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, between the two of them, I would say that is 100% on. kind of in my heart of hearts know that in another life they are together. For sure, there was a way deeper connection than just some weird illicit sexual relationship, even if they like did emphasize that, or if it did start that way. It was kind of like JFK took an opportunity, but then like also was like, oh, I'm actually hearing like what you're saying, but he, looking into it, ended up getting him killed. Like once again, everybody thinks that he roped her into it, but she went to him first. It's odd, right? Like I said, I don't know if you can verify that in any way, shape, or form. I feel like everyone's dead, so what's the point? But yeah, something about that. Interesting enough, right? Pretty wild. Pretty wild stuff. Yeah, so again, her life was very tumultuous, very tragic. She's not going to sit here and detail every account of a man who hurt or abused or assaulted her. But there was plenty or many even, and maybe she did the same thing, took out some of her anger on even like children. I hear she wasn't really great with kids. She could never have one because she basically had like a very old school version of a conservatorship where they had tried to like put those details into her contract, stuff like that. And in context, I'm 30, so I feel like this year I became an adult. Literally, like I don't know, it just like clicked one day. I was like, wow, I'm actually doing way better than I think I am. Shit, not bad, kid. Oh hey, graduation day. So I can't imagine 6 years from now just being dead. That'd suck and be crazy if I was, right? Because, like, I just said it on live, but other than that, like, nah, we want to live a little longer than that. Maybe a lot longer than that. Hell, who knows? But it's just crazy to be, yeah, it's just crazy to be put in perspective that they were 6 years older than me, going through all this stuff, being in charge of an entire nation, or having all of Hollywood at your feet and with a fist in your face, right? Like a backhanded compliment that leaves a black eye and a fucking cheap stain or whatever, like it's just crazy to think that going through it, like while they were still alive, they were in their fucking 30s. Like that is a wild time. It's a wild time, and there's really no good time to be in charge of things or to be doing these things. The old men aren't doing any better, if not doing fucking worse. But there must be a happy medium of balancing things, right? But sometimes in life, you really do need age to gain the wisdom required to do things. And some people, go through unfortunate things simply to gain the wisdom faster, and that's people like Kennedy, who can become the youngest president still to this day ever. Half the age of the current president and the last one, for fuck's sake. They're only a year apart. I'm really sick of the fucking opposite team talking shit about the other team for the same shit. Like, a year makes a fucking difference, you morons. Like, stop. First of all. But, like, it's just crazy. I don't really get what you mean by the Hitler comment, but I swear to God, if I have to ban you over some stupid Nazi shit, I'm gonna be real pissed off. Source, please don't elaborate. Just what? But nah, I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, Marilyn believes she was abducted. Probably around, I feel like probably around age 9, she figured it out or thought of it, and she tried to say something when she was a kid. There wasn't really like therapists and therapy back then, but there was people that you would talk to, and they'd come by the house and ask, because she had this little phase where everything that she wanted to color and draw was all about fucking aliens and stuff, and at the time there wasn't really much culture around it, so people took it a little more seriously, but in the way of almost like mental illness, right? So she kind of was set up from the start to just be like this weird kid But she was so pretty that no one ever did want to get her in trouble. No one ever did want to sit her down and tell her the truth because they just like couldn't even look at her to do it, because they knew where she came from and that she was sad and all that. But it was just like lies built on lies built on lies, and it like helped her keep her innocence, but at the cost of her own life, like sheltering a girl or not sheltering a girl just leaves her in danger of the world. And like, you want to raise tough women. What the fuck? Who's raising weak women? Who are these people who are like, everyone's going to be good to you? You're so beautiful. Of course I deserve everyone to be good to me. Of course I can be seen that way. But at the end of the day, I got to be able to protect myself and defend myself. And if she had a message to anyone, but especially young girls, and especially if they want to get their nose in this business, then they better know who the fuck they are and where their limits at before they get in. They better know how to say no and stand up and change what we see as attractive instead of succumbing to what already is. They forced me to succumb to an image, and I said, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna dye my hair blonde then. There wasn't any movie stars with blonde hair. That's why I love to be seen with my blonde hair. That's why it's the title of that stupid movie. Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it. All the movie stars were fucking brunette at the time. You'd see it better on camera, and I said, I don't care. Because I'm here, and I'm Marilyn, and I have blonde hair. So cute. So cute. Those were her decisions. She was the person that they, exploited very carefully, craftedly. I don't fucking know Andy Warhol. So, yeah, she was really sad. But if anybody did like remember anything about her, it would be that she was like, she lived and died for the conspiracy. Truly. Like, she's kind of like mind bender. Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, she probably was really gifted and had powers just like this, but like had zero opportunities to heal and tap in, and like never had the time to figure out how to heal herself and things like that. Like, ever at any point. Super fucking moving. Very cute story. I mean, not cute story at all because it's so tragic, but she's still very cute. Like, she still has that super wholesome, fearless energy, but now she stands in her power so greatly. So greatly. And is so she's more untouchable now than she ever was. Couldn't anyone touch her. Okay, like, kind of just this fucking immaculately gloriously woman. I don't know how else to explain this. She's much happier here, and she's okay with defining a generation of their look or whatever. She's okay with the images being passed on or being revered, but if anything, she just wishes that the picture was a bit more clear and a bit more in focus rather than the lies and choosing what they want to know or say or put in the films and such things. So, kind of a double-edged sword, to say the very least. Poor girl. Poor girl. Oh my God, what a beautiful, beautiful woman inside and out. Truly beautiful, beautiful person. I mean, again, very tragic life, but just an absolutely beautiful person, truly, from the inside. Yeah. Can't imagine. Uh, can't imagine. I just reject seeking approval from anyone, especially the opposite sex, especially if it relates to an abandoned parent kind of energy. I don't know. Okay. Um, cool. So I think her little last message was like the strength thing and powering up women. Last message. Okay. Thank you, Marilyn. That was cool. That was fucking 40 minutes, dude. Pretty sure. Fucking came back, 40, 35, 40 minutes. I mean, that was. It's moving, to say the least. I mean, she's definitely encouraging me to sing too, especially because she can, you know. Or she can now, but she couldn't in this lifetime. So she knows that I was working on a song and that I have my own song stuck in my head, which is a good place to be in as a musician, I think, because I'm still writing it, and she's encouraging me to sing, and that's very kind because I need the encouragement more than I need any kind of validation, just words of affirmation to keep going sometimes. So, still a super thoughtful person. Still very receptive. Probably, like I said, always had gifts and just didn't nourish them or notice or know what it was. Or, she does kind of tend to imagine her life nowadays and who she'd be and how, conservative or liberal that things might become and what she could handle or what she'd want because of how far out she was. So, very cool. Very cool. I feel like I'm like close my eyes and be like, you know, um, but I almost want to also move on to Douglas Adams, so maybe I need to just sit and transition between the two is kind of what it is. So let's roll this ad break, get our little 60 seconds in, I'll close my eyes for a minute or whatever I gotta do to shake this. Thank you so much, Marilyn, for showing up and being here tonight. It's a very beautiful reading, and I appreciate your energy. Come back anytime. Let's roll the ad. Oh, not that. Okay, y'all, I'm back. How's it going? Okay, Douglas Adams. I feel like I just saw a picture of him, and I have no idea what he looks like. And I feel like I'm picturing the picture, but he's also kind of like showing me a different version of himself that maybe isn't in pictures. Or I think it's because, honestly, it's kind of like he looks so different in every single one. He's a bit of a shapeshifter, not gonna lie. Kind of like an inconsistent face. He definitely had the power of morphosis, if you will. And he kind of knew that. I feel like he had a really goofy voice. Never heard this guy talk, but I can just hear him kind of like almost like this. I don't know if it's like an assessment based on the way he looks or if it's him coming through. Um, but he seems like he was a exceptionally goofy guy, and that's kind of why he never took his daydreams necessarily seriously, because he was writing these weird sci-fi books and had created this world where, is that not cliche as fuck Pisces to be living in a daydream? But he didn't imagine the daydreams were some kind of transmission frequency from outer space coming to him directly through some means of alien telepathy. Like, at no point had he actually considered any of the fucking shit he wrote. You know what I mean? He's like, what? No, he didn't really believe in aliens. He may have even said he did. He may have even literally tried to, just because of his fan base, and he knew, well, what kind of credibility would I have if I didn't even believe in the shit that I said? He lied about it, though. He never believed. He thinks this is probably the most closest he's ever come to buying it. He's giving me a chance. Marilyn Monroe was good insight. Super helpful for him. He wanted to taste some peanut butter. We were probably like, what the fuck is going on this channel? Nobody really knows, but God, it's funny. It's a good time. You should stick around. You should follow. Fuck, you should even subscribe. Honestly, you should. It's coffee in here, by the way. Homemade death brew, I mean cold brew, I mean what's it to you? You know, don't forget to drink your water. So, anyway, Douglas Adams did not necessarily believe in any of the things that he wrote. But like I said, when I watched that movie recently, I was like, damn, that feels so on brand. Like, that's such an excellent depiction of everything. Like, this is genius. He definitely found it to be a bit more comedic than anything, and obviously it's funny. It's not even like a overt funny. It's very obviously funny. It's very obvious comedy, in a sense, or in terms of sci-fi. Obvious, but he was definitely like a jokester, you know. And it's cool that people take it even more seriously, or could align with like such a religious experience from something that he created, in a sense. So, he, it does feel like it was his divine purpose to kind of go there and hitchhike his way through the galaxy, and like there would absolutely be zero regrets. Wasn't really that famous, never really had the qualms that a lot of people had, or tumultuous roads. Pretty much one of those people, just kind of like floated by, and just got a good idea one day, which apparently was from some little green men in the sky, as it turns out. That's what y'all are telling me, kind of energy. Like, no, he's just some guy. He always felt that way. He still feels that way, and has just had a really cool idea. And it's even cooler that people still love that cool idea, and they still read the book series. They watch the movies. They watch the show. They make their renditions, like, are interested in talking to him or remember his name at all. It's fascinating, but also, like, God, it's an honor, it's an honor, is how he feels, because he is some jokester, prankster, goofy, daydreamer kind of guy who just was bumbling around in life, and eventually something hit for him, and it was Hitchhiker's Guide to the fucking Galaxy. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. There ain't even much more to say about it. But there is something so uniquely magical about having died and being able to see a lot of what he was saying in context. And that is where the bridge crosses amongst worlds, and how in death is when you can see every plane as it intersects with humanity in your own, not necessarily collective experience, but individual experience of the collective. And he would consider himself perhaps reformed or such a believer to a degree, because he was, if not anything, apathetic, but less so having already lived it. In the moment, it would be more difficult to accept such seemingly irrational schools of thought, or kind of new ways of thinking, new age ways of thinking, new ideas, kind of channel, trigger, it's interesting that typically when I do readings, I face this way, and it's because, as you see, there's a fucking wall right here, so I have more room with my legs and whatever. I'm closer to Mike if I spin this way. But just now in this moment, it was like I wanted to face this wall and look at, I mean, this is mine, but from the Douglas Adams perspective, theoretically. He wanted to see things. Some people don't give a shit to see life, but he sees life with these new eyes of the scope of death, and just sees things in such a different way, to be able to understand all the coding that we do unconsciously and generationally, having kind of put it into our languages and our rituals and our movements and our shapes and such things, where it's kind of like well, it's kind of like dot dot dot. That's your writing prompt of the week, okay? Well, it's kind of like I love that. Douglas Adams, so cool. Because he had a very interesting, unique style, and it's a wonder if he had not written such a story as like Hitchhikers, could he have really made it with his very unique style of pomp, poignant, pomp, poignant, pomp, poignant, pomp, poignant. That's his like whole thing. What did we say? Symbol, trigger, what was it? I don't remember. Dun 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 dun. Pop, poignant, pop, poignant. It was a point of action or a punchline of a joke, but then some kind of like existential, extraterrestrial, poignant prose. So he had that nice 1-2 combination that worked really well in the sci-fi realm, and it served well for him. But he wonders, had he not had that weird vision idea day, he remembers a specific day where the whole world just seemed to fade away, and he just walked around as if there was nothing else. And that's how he came up with that story. And that's how, he spent a day kind of talking to an alien. And at the time, once again, he just figured that was his imagination. He'd always had an active imagination, and as all we know, it's Pisces energy, right? But he kind of now is seeing like, I talked to an alien. I see that now. He's like, wow, cool. Cool. Where they saw his talent, they saw his style and his voice, and they said, well, can we help you develop that into something that could serve a greater purpose, or become part of the general experience? Like there was this poignant, almost a point, but also eloquence, right? So there's some kind of, I keep saying poignant, but there might be a different word that we're trying to get at here. Maybe premonition. Where yes, he could have seen it all coming, but he really didn't. And this was so shocking sometimes as he got older, and he was always very humble in the sense of like never really understood it, but now that he sees, like, oh, it was gifted to me, as many good stories do. But then there's also so much conspiracy around what is alien and what is true human, and how do we decipher who's who, in a sense. So he's wondering if he gave himself the idea, if he could bore something into reality, and now he questions whether or not he should have been time traveling at all, because what if he himself is what gave him the recipe for success or to avoid a certain disaster? But then where does the creation begin and end if it's all within you, without you, and because of you, right? Kind of crazy to be on a time loop. It's totally crazy to be in a time loop. Cool. Douglas Adams. He's giving a whole, like, I could go on, but I'm not going to. He's like, seems cool. I kind of like talking to him. I think nobody wants to get super exhausted, and there's no true point to any of it. Other than, like, he's converted to a believer, basically. Maybe a little too late, but converted no less. Okay, yeah, I think that might be it for Dougie D. Just kidding, it would be Dougie A, weirdo. Thank you to Douglas Adams. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Yeah. Cool. This album, La La Land by Wax Fang, different songs from that keep popping up in my head while I was doing the Douglas Adams reading just now. But it came out in 2008. He was passed away in 2001. So perhaps there's a message in that, or, now that he points it out, it does seem very much like it could be some kind of abduction scenario storytelling. It definitely resonates with the psych ward energy that we discussed earlier, and I first heard it when it first got out. So that album is really sentimental to me. Typed it in case you couldn't understand what I was saying. Where I'm hearing that, and the aliens like to communicate through music. And we've discussed that, where like some languages can be spoken by anyone. But something about that has like messages or the vibe that Douglas Adams is trying to convey. Because to an extent it was like he really was disenchanted with his reality, because he came to suddenly. It was like, wow, things are a lot different than I thought they were or expected them to be. Okay, so pretty interesting. Yeah, I can't tell, I don't know if I'm getting tired or if I'm getting exhausted. But I'm sorry that the Douglas Adams bit was so short. It's like all of them, they could talk, but about what? Nothing in particular, but of course that seemed of interest. That was of interest to me. I think it was very cool. Very great insight. Yeah, and just hear music, so I think that's good. Hi, doing channel messages. Thanks for being here. I'm probably not going to last much longer, but we're about to do Alan Watts, so like I'm going to be in it for a minute. I probably will take a minute long break. It's a little early. I'll give myself a few extra minutes. Like sometimes when I'm about to get channel messages, it does register as very sleepy energy. and I get that, and I know that. And that's why I don't want to say that I'm tired when really I'm just in the midst of it and it's hard to go but nothing I can't handle really. So, well, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna transition out from one and into the next, so don't mind the ad break. Might feel kind of long, but I will be back at the end of it, and it'll only be a few minutes, and then we're gonna do Alan Watts and probably call it quits for the evening. So I will be right back. Thank you to the Patience Squad this evening. It's good for me to take these like slightly longer than minute-long breaks, even if they're not super long, because like there's some nights I'll go for fucking 7.5 hours and barely take breaks, and there's some nights where I can barely go an hour without taking 5, 10, 20 minutes. So I'm back. Last point of the agenda this evening is Alan Watts. So before we jump right into that, let's just like chill for a minute, because part of the burnout is like the back-to-back, spending a little too much time in there. We can even see, I don't know, I think we're good on Douglas Adams for the evening, but I was like, we can see if he comes back out, if I do some other stuff in the meantime, but to that end, I am really just kind of mentally preparing for Alan Watts to be the big finale of the evening. So before we get to that, let's just chat for a quick second, don't you think? So, what's up? How we doing? We digging the reading or what? I am. I don't give a fuck if anybody else does. That's like, why would I do something that, is paying me probably less than I'm worth to do it if I didn't enjoy it, But it is work, and the thing is, it's like, people have mixed feelings about doing what they love for a job, I think, because it's like, oh, if you make it a job, we still love it. And I think in particular with like the spiritual realm of things, because I don't know, I do avoid making writing my full-time job. I avoid making painting my full-time job. I avoid all of my other artistic endeavors from being my full-time job. But with tarot, it's so much work, even as a hobby, that it absolutely, for me, requires some sort of payment in a sense. Like, yeah. But lately, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know why I'm bringing this up right now, but I realized I was making more money on individual readings before I started doing videos. Granted, it was before the pandemic. However, I almost feel like getting hip to people's shit, eh? I don't buy personal readings, but it's mostly because nobody's really, buying them from me anymore. It's like definitely a more dense market now than it was 3 years ago. And I still do okay. Like, I still get paid what I'm worth. But my readings are fewer and farther between. I don't know why I'm being candid about this right now. Where there is sort of a need for me to pull back, where it's like, have I given too much? Because this to me is work regardless. This is fun and I enjoy it, but it's like, it's work no matter what the intended purpose is. And that's why I'm perfectly okay with it being my work and my exchange for money and energy and whatnot. Whereas my other hobbies, it never worked out to try and sacrifice. But should some things align or something happen in any of the realms, it's just like, yes, I understand the importance of not monetizing your hobbies, but this is far from a hobby. This is some pretty intense work that I do. And maybe I'm bringing this up because Alan Watts, man, I think I would also constitute as a philosopher, you fucking douchebag. How did you get that job? What were your qualifications? It says his college or school was Zen. What the fuck? Bro, come on. Like, literally living my dream life, other than like dying of like really serious alcohol stuff at 58. Not really a dream, but I'm just saying. How do I become Alan Watts? Indirectly, obviously, joking, but why do any of it? How did he just like survive, sit around drinking, fucking talking to people all day? I don't even want to drink. I don't even want to poison myself. I feel like that's my vibe. Very much. I have always resonated with Alan Watts. When I say always, I mean in the time frame in which I've known him. And this is a little full circle moment, kind of a funny story that damn, this bowl gets clogged so easily. I want to light incense anyway. Do we dare light a Capricorn incense for Alan Watts, even though we skipped over Pisces? That's okay. I don't need that fucking energy in my house. Just kidding, y'all. We know about the Pisces on my channel. Staring off in space. Everybody's beating themselves up over nothing. Over nothing. Oh no, 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 oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 oh no, oh no, 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 no. Yeah, I'm really thinking about that album now. Can you see the light? Yeah, that probably is about alien abductions. Why didn't I even register that? Like I said, it just felt so much like the psych ward, and I heard it when I first got out of the psych ward. But it's like, damn, I just assumed that it wouldn't be about aliens, nor was my focus at the time in life in 2017 about aliens. It was definitely being presented to me to an extent or degree, but I didn't bring my damn weed over here. Okay, but anyways, it was just kind of becoming present. So diving into this a bit, just once again, just kind of introducing Alan Watts, bringing that energy in and explaining how much I absolutely do appreciate and love his work. Of all the people in the world, like I just, I can actually resonate with that. But 2017, I did my 8-day stint, and I'm not sure why this has come up quite a bit recently, but I keep referencing it. It's a good mile marker in my life. Honestly, it tells a certain story. And progress on the medical front is like non-existent, which is kind of hilarious, ironic, all in one. Come to say that I'm getting kind of chilly, man. I might have to run and grab a sweater and my weed in a second. God, and Alan Watts, I feel like wore some fucking sweaters. I'm just gonna do it now because I'm getting distracted by how cold I am, and I think this will give us 30 minutes. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, y'all. Jesus, fuck. Losing people. It's alright, I'm pretty sure if you fell asleep and their devices are probably dead or disconnected. So, Alan Watts, the remainder of the evening. I might be up for chit-chatting a bit. I'm feeling definitely heavy swirling energy in my head, but I think it's because I've got it coming in. I think this could be possessive. They've all been relatively possessive this evening, which I do appreciate. It's just such a cool... I don't know, I love what I do, and it does make people super uncomfortable to know me sometimes, and I get it. I get it. It's kind of a lot. It's I would say it's a lot for me because the life that I've had to live because of what I do and because of who I am has been difficult. But me being me obviously comes very easy to me, very naturally to me. I've been the same since I was born. I just keep evolving and leveling up and learning more, right? But like I've always been this person, I always know exactly who I was supposed to be and what I wanted to be and all that, blah blah blah. So yeah. Anyways, pretty damn cute to say the least. Okay. Couple more things about Alan Watts. Part of the reason it's funny the psych ward stuff came up prior to this, but now it's back in the stream multiple times this evening, is when I got out, a friend of mine sent me an Alan Watts lecture. And I listened to it, and she maybe sent or suggested another, and I just dove in. But then, like, YouTube would give me pop-up notifications of his lectures, and like, because I was getting the notifications, I thought they were new. It was 2017. I thought he was uploading lectures, and these were like happening almost like live stream, like, because when I listened to it, it felt like a live stream. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it was like I was very connected to him, and so I feel like part of the reason he comes up a lot when I'm doing tarot, or like I don't listen to him as much anymore because I feel like I finally realized that I made that divine connection the very first time I ever heard him speak, Alan Watts. And I have had somewhat similar experiences, but this was at the time where I was clearly practicing necromancy, but had very little awareness or control over the matter. Couldn't really see it, didn't really get it. And now that it's more obvious, it's like, wow, I felt the live stream with Alan Watts because I was connecting not only to the greater general everything around me, but to his spirit, to him personally, probably. Just likely, just looking at the way that I do things and things, you know? So it's cool to think about, or to think back to, even if at the time it was kind of scary and they made me question myself so much. And at the end of the day, at the end of the road, here I am back on my path. Like, thanks for the detour. It sucked. I should have just ignored you guys and kept going. But I guess I learned a lot, and in a way I took a shortcut. Because if my path is like this, and my detour was like... But now, hey, instead of being on my path here, I went to here. So that's cool, I guess. It shortened it the long way around the, yeah. Cool. Maybe you did this instead of that. Yeah, like, no biggie. Even when you take a detour, it can help, it can hurt, but it'll be a heck of a lot faster. That's
I know. That's my take. On what? I don't know. That was a bit random. It just feels like maybe you think it's funny. But yeah, so cool. Don't know much about Alan Watts' life other than what I already mentioned about him and his alcohol, from what I understand or read, because at the time, like I said, I thought he was still alive and giving lectures, which is like not completely ridiculous, but absolutely fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? And I am kind of cracking up because this is too real, Alan Watts. Why are you showing me this right now? Why are we doing this right now? It just seems like not a cool thing right now. What the fuck? Bro, I kind of love it though. I wonder if the things that I've been thinking or feeling were like Alan Watts trying to fucking get me to take a hint to talk to him this evening, or if we just align energetically and based on mindsets. My God, yes. Yes. Perfect, cool, finished. Yeah, love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Cool. So sorry, I did get a little distracted. Sometimes I don't want to share every single fucking message I get. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes they're just mine. Sometimes they're from me. But I looked into his life and death a bit around that time because, yeah, she had to tell me. I talked about him to my friend who shared his work with me as if he were alive, and she was like, "The fuck are you talking about? When he died in the 70s?" And I was like, "No shit. That's why. How did I not realize that, or know that, or even question it? Because it felt live. So creepy and so weird. But like now, I realize that I just had contact with him earlier, the scribe, than I did with like anyone else." Oh my god. Okay, listen, I feel like you're trying to take over this reading right now, which is very entitled of you, even if you do fit a very similar description to the person who is supposed to have the floor. I'm putting these away. Not the cards, but these draw, except this one. Look. I get it. You think that doesn't look like a Capricorn? Can we get back to Alan Watts, please? The Scribe, familiar, yes. Perception, yes. And Queen of Fire. Some reason those were the ones that were face up, so fine. Fourth position, Fire. Target sighted, right? It's very presenting masculine energy because the fire. Fifth position, Earth. Something in the background. Lots of control issues looking like here. But definitely got the cards and gotta lay them down. 12th position, Water, the Counselor. Once again, unbiased. Unadulterated. We've got 21, Perception. The way you see things is not always the way that they are. And of course, your perceptive reality is whatever it is that you're manifesting, so be mindful. And 8th position, Fire, Queen of Fire. Follow the passion, follow the fire, go with the flame, right? That's the whole point of the journey. It's okay. It's okay. Because nobody knows but me, right? Like, nobody knows it but me. I don't even know what song it is. Is that like Uncle Cracker or something? I have no idea where one would have to be at in life to be listening to stuff like that. Yeah, no, I know I'm right. Oh, look, it came up again. Target, sighted, locked in, desire. Look at that. Boom. It's a match. Light that shit. Got the whole world in your hand because the world is represented by a single rose. and this gender fluid man. It's pretty cute. The child, sure, and then 8th position, water, kind of evil energy here. Femme operating in masculine energy, or something about immaturity in the emotional department. Could care less. Could care less. Bottom of the deck, Destiny, cut the deck. Queen, 8th position, water, Queen of Water, and Queen of Earth. 8th position, Earth, Queen of Earth, and 8th position, Water, Queen of Water. This is like that femme squared energy. 2 queens, 2 feminine elements. That feminine energy against this King of Fire. I would not mess with it if I were anyone. But cooperate with it, work with it, lean into it, become it. Correct? Correct. Destiny. It is your destiny to do so, to be honest. And running from it, avoiding it, pretending like that's not fucking happening. Legitimately, it's selfish because it's unhealthy to hold back your feelings or to go against what you know you should be doing or you feel like you can't be doing, but you know, like, is what you're meant to be doing. Like, that's how you breed misery. It's how you pass on generational trauma. It's how you become undone, unsatisfied, regretful. Because you just, like, it becomes, it's not that it becomes cancer, like, physically or literally, but it could. I mean, if you manifest like negative thoughts and you just like are miserable because you're like not doing what your soul is asking you to do, then it's gonna slowly take out your body so that you can start over and do it again in either a different lifetime timeline or other conditions, like, you know, or even having a near-death experience, getting a person kicked into overdrive. Like, there's so many different avenues, but it's like the one you take is ultimately up to you, but the less conscious time and effort you put into something that is on your mind, the more unhealthy it becomes. I've been there, bro. Like, I had a very unhealthy obsession with something because I was like, this is like bothering me. I'm just gonna like get it off my mind and let it go. And it's like, well, maybe if it's that much on your mind, like, don't just let it go. Yeah, I get that. I get that. So you have to think about these things, though. Especially if you have kids. As the father comes up, and emotions. So 5 and 29. It's a lot of major arcana in this deck. But it is 19. Okay, 5 and 19. The father and emotions pairing up together. I'm really sick and tired of all of women's problems being based around men and all of men's issues being derived of women. Like, where did we get this narrative from? We need to be responsible for our own shit. Like, examples of what I mean by that, because it sounds like one and the same, but like, if a woman has issues, then it's, oh, she has daddy issues, right? Rather than like seeing that as a fault of men. But then it's also like I said, I listened to a reading the other day, and this reader was talking about a twin flame connection, and they were basically saying that toxic men or toxic masculines are toxic because they're too influenced by the feminine. And it's like, work on your own shit. If you're easily influenced, that's your problem. It doesn't matter if a masculine energy or a feminine energy influences someone who's easily influenced. That's literally your problem. the influence makes no difference. That person isn't going to be their true, evolved, tip-top shape shelf if they are influenced by anything. Doesn't matter what side it's coming from. Stop attributing the masculine's problem to the feminine, because then it translates into gender roles and it translates into the major narrative in your daily lives. And it's the same thing for the roles that, our mainstream deals with. Right? Like if a man wrongs a woman, it's her problem, but if a woman wrongs a man, it's still her problem. Okay, since when? When did that begin? And so it's like when we are dissecting ourselves, we have to recognize that like nature and nurture are both at play. So to try to make yourself personally responsible for something that, like, one, you had no idea was happening, two, you had no consent to occurring, and three, you have no recollection of actually happening. For example, being indoctrinated into a certain culture or way of life, just growing up as example, white man, or indigenous person, or like a black woman, because all three of them would have very radically different experiences, right? And so if you only see from one perspective, you can break away from that eventually for different reasons and in ways that they play upon each other. Where, like, you might be subjected to things that you absolutely never once said that you would do, unless, of course, it's in not prehistoric, but like a kind of not like a past life, but you get what I'm trying to say. Probably did not build a thick enough bridge there. What the fuck was it? It was like, okay, a little disruptive. I get it. No. Karma, etc. And this is low stakes, and I can't imagine if there was. Yeah. We get it. On a soul level, at the core of things, within a womb, within a mind, from God, however divine comes to you, you theoretically design a certain way of life, okay? And you kind of sign a contract or say you'll deal with this, put up with that, go through this, go through that, before you get here, theoretically, okay? But I suppose this, like, interesting dynamic is like other people also do that. So who is to say that once we get here, things don't naturally occur, in the sense that everything is still very chaotic, that we have very loose terms in these contracts, we have very loose agreements of what we'll put up with, or like what we can handle, and then when we get thrown into the mix with thousands, if not just like really billions of other people, that there aren't factors that will come in, and that's why we have free will ultimately, to dodge or avoid the chaotic nature of life. Like, as much as a meteor could hit Earth at any moment, if it hasn't already. Like, who even knows, like, where we are, what we're doing, right? But who actually cares? I don't know what it is, but there has got to be something going on upstairs. Man, that's a niche reference if anybody really dug that. I want you to dig. I love that album, though. I had a fucking phase. It was the books and the new stuff, if you know, you know. Jesus Christ, felt that one. doing, though? We haven't even got to Alan Watts' part yet, but there was this little intermission, perhaps influenced by him. That fucking Capricorn incense does smell so good. They all do. Gemini smells better. Sometimes it doesn't smell that good. It's funny, the air signs, like, the incense themselves seem to have the most variety, where some of them are super, like, wood stick and... No, he's been dead since 1973. What? I'm sorry. That is really misleading, especially because I know you tuned in pretty late to the reading. And so me saying so many different things and using so many different cards and terminologies, and then also being like, oh, damn, Alan Watts was looking pretty good. Like, I know, I did that like 20 minutes ago. No. No, I don't think so. I hope not. He's been dead since like way before I was born. I suppose I could have been a thought at that point, but I mean, unless he came back. Dude's been dead for a while. I could see how that's confusing. So, yeah, there's just a lot going on. You would just have to start from the beginning and watch the whole thing with your own eyes instead of me trying to explain what we've already done tonight, because it's all extremely connected and convoluted. You know, and I feel like without the bangs, I look like a criminal in a beanie. To some extent, just now I was given big crime vibes. Let's get that back to adorable fall princess. All right. Better? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, this deck I use for my channel messages, gods, goddesses, guides, and galactics, and I also use it for twin flame readings for similar reasons, oddly enough. And I just kind of tonight decided to do some of my Halloween, or well, not tonight, but when I was making my list for people I was going to talk to this month, the 3 people listed in the title of the reading wanted me to do their readings with this deck rather than the Halloween Oracle, so we already busted through Marilyn Monroe and Douglas Adams. Marilyn Monroe was like an hour long, pretty beautiful thing that we had, and Douglas Adams was really quick but super insightful and very cool to me anyway. And we haven't got to Alan Watts yet. But I interrupted with this. I just picked up the cards and was shuffling, and it just kind of seemed like a narrative more than a channeled message. I feel like some people need to breathe. These cards being in reverse, they were face down, where it's like you're suppressing some pretty dark fucking shit there, homeboy. I heard that. Come on. I've also been there, so I get it. I'm not saying you in particular, Wilston. I just, when I saw these cards, the Mother in reverse, 7th position, Air in reverse, and 11th position, Earth in reverse, Heaven and Earth. And to me, this was basically like giving this weird vibe of like, I'd move Heaven and Earth for you, and I don't know how, but I have to get rid of this person, figure, connection, energy, etc., whatever, motion upside down, where it's like, it's almost like when you have positive intentions, but poor execution. Like, almost like gotta have it energy, right? And being willing to give up anything at any cost. Kind of not, it's not great, not cute, not good. Manage your emotions before you make any moves. Okay? Manage your emotions before you make any moves. God, I hope you stuck it out for that. Oh yeah, my three favorite cards, pretty much, or three of my favorite cards, because she's so gorgeous, and the details of this one is so good. This one came up, 7th position, Earth. Came up earlier. Absolutely love it. Actually, all of these did. I love this card so much. Getting grounded, getting aligned, planting, rooting, growing, blooming. 9th position, air, being open, just like brilliance and engaged and knowledgeable and self-awareness to the extreme. 3rd eye opening, like very much visually stimulus, right? 7th position, fire, very much about self-reflection, the butterfly, the fox, the lotus. There's so many good omens in this card. And it's self-awareness and the sense of self-reflection, where once you see and can reckon with all of your bad things is when you start to see the beauty about everything else. So it's like a good, beautiful stage to be in, to finally come over the hump of reckoning with being a bad person, and then also being able to celebrate being a good person. Because when you know right from wrong, you get to choose, right? Or wrong. Okay, and then, you'll know that you did the right thing for whatever your narrative is, and whatever it is that you have to do in this life, whether it's be a part of something, or to be independent, or to be a martyr, or to be a saint, or to be codependent. Yeah, 6th position, fire, some kind of truce. This is just I just feel like I don't even really, I feel like this is almost oddly personal, and yeah, a fucking buy reading. It's the easiest way to do anything is to just get the full fucking picture. Just buy a reading. Just, you can book it on my website. Look, the hero coming through. Oh, good point. I guess I could do that. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. Do it. 6th position, Earth, again, the masculine coming in with an offer. Get yourself a little reading, sir. Death and rebirth. Try again. Go in, instead of sideways, go direct, up front. Best way to be honest is to let her open it. Right? Let your femmes read your tarot cards, alright, fellas? Anyways, let's take this break and get back to Alan Watts. I don't know what that interruption was for or because, but we'll take 60 seconds and move on. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. A sight for sunrise to the blind would be awful majestic. It would be the most beautiful thing that they ever had seen. It would cause such surprise, it would make all of their minds electric. How could anyone tell them that some things are not what they seem? In such disbelief, I thought I was asleep when I met you. And then hard and I said, I know this must be a dream. Something in the night and then up through the dark, don't remind me. I'd rather be dreaming of someone than living alone. Yeah, I don't know. Every single track on that album has come up since I've been doing this reading. I feel like, but it was especially during Douglas Adams, and that literally lasted like 15, 20 minutes in total. But I think it's because of the nature of this deck and me, the nature of me, and me realizing that those lyrics, like I said, it felt like the Twilight Zone, and it very much gave me psych ward vibes at the time that I heard it. But now I'm listening to it, and the lyrical content could just as easily be Disillusioned, Abduction Story, and I just love how appropriately that does convey a very specific extraterrestrial message so perfectly. That's super, super fun. Second position, fire. So doubling up on the fem energy, even with the masculines, like realizing, like, okay, learning about feminine energy and understanding how to fucking move with it is different than just inhibiting it, right? Or being influenced by it. It's like appreciating it and like tapping into your own source of it because you're still half your fucking mothers, right? King of Air. Yeah. Soft masculine, the air versus fire. Good balance. And then emotions is here. Cool. We'll get that out. And then suit cards here. Yeah, the piles feel good. That's how we'll just set it up. I haven't been shuffling or using anything. A little bit of tapping, closing my eyes, grabbing, but didn't even need the cards tonight. The readings came out like fucking liquid fool's gold, you know? It was awesome. So we're going to leave emotions on the table. These are in reverse, but I kind of want to just put them upright just simply because it's supposed to be focusing on Alan Watts, really. But this 8th position Earth and 3rd position Earth were in reverse. So it's like this femme energy and this like young, like boy energy planting something where he doesn't have that full grown man, but he's still like hard at work, you know, in this femme queen person. You know, they're in reverse, but I kind of do want to put them upright. Although now I'm wondering if Alan Watts like lost someone in his life, and that's why they came out in reverse in his emotions. I noticed he was married 3 times, and now I'm wondering if one of his wives. Weird. Did he lose a wife and a child at a point? Is that the story? Okay, what's with people having like born days and not death days? Fuck. When she passed away. Fuck. I don't want to take too much time looking into this. I want to just go on with the story. But I am sometimes very curious. Okay, his wife's not even there. Okay. Oh, so he's technically a writer. Yeah, I totally get that philosophy in writing go hand in hand. That makes perfect sense. No wonder he's like a writer. That's how his gateway into just being able to talk for a living. That's crazy. He was like, fuck, I'm gonna drink myself to death because nobody wants to talk to me. When everybody has to listen to me all the time. Totally can relate, Alan. I can't wait. Okay. Moving into it. Yes, I think he lost a wife and child. Like I said, I tried to Google it very briefly just now to look into it. He did have 3 wives. one of them he was with when he passed away, and then he was with the other two approximately 10 years, give or take. One, I think, was closer to 13. And I think one of them maybe passed away, and one of his children when they were young or something. Maybe that was his mother. I don't know what happened, but I think that's why this was in reverse, and there was emotions on the table. So he became, he was always very articulate, of course, because he grew up in like posh UK, like he was, he had that sort of like, spoke about him, and he was always quite rational, why can't I remember his birthday when I literally just looked it up? No, he's Capricorn, January 6th. So he's always really, I think he had a stutter as a kid too. He was always, I think he had a stutter, bro. I also have a stutter, but I don't stutter when I'm channeling messages unless they have a stutter. That's why he talked like that. He had a stutter. He exaggerated his voice, and that's why he's making jokes right now about being posh UK, because a trick he learned in speech class when he was a kid was to talk slower, and even to take on a persona and to be other from yourself when you speak, as to just like what I said, when I channel messages, I don't stutter even though I stutter, and that makes perfect sense. It's essentially what he was doing. So after his life, okay, this is crazy because now it all makes sense. Crazy. I am like blown away by these moments of insight and like this absolute in-depth look at some of the most like impossible things to know, but just that come very clear as messages in the way of seeing and hearing things, and then to once again maybe not be able to verify these moments with these random figureheads that I don't know personally or have connections with. However, being accurate enough for my, friends and family that it's like pretty crazy. I appreciate this gift very much, and I thank God for it, I thank Jesus Christ for it more than anybody. So it's really beautiful. Very much grateful, very appreciative. So cool. Cool. So yeah, I think he lost one of his wives. You can probably look it up. Wife and child. Maybe it was someone else, like his mother. It doesn't matter. He always did want to mask his emotions. So he had a very cold demeanor, which is pretty typical of people born in the cold months, I've noticed, from Capricorn to Sagittarius to Aquarius and to some Pisces and not others, right? And same with Scorpios, even can be warm or cold. It depends on the weather where they're born. I'm joking, but So he did have a pretty cold delivery, but yeah, it was a tactic that he learned a long, long time ago, where he spoke a bit slower and he spoke with a bit of an accent. He tried so many accents, but that's why it's weird that this Canadian accent's coming out. That's not how he sounded at all, but he didn't sound the way he actually did in his lectures until he was much older, because he was learning to speak. Like, he was learning to speak. He stuttered so badly as a child that he had no choice but to. The accent really helped. Like, he had an accent, but again, he exaggerated it. He had a normal kind of like British accent, and in the time it was like, yes, people did still kind of speak that way, but it was definitely it was more of a cultural thing than a geographical thing, and it was just part of the mechanism that he learned in his speech therapy class, um, and perfected in his acting class in high school, that he developed the iconic voice that we hear in all of his lectures. Okay, so like, yeah, he had a stutter. That nobody knew that. That's like his big, he had a stutter. And he overcame it in such a way that he could become a speaker that no one even knew had a stutter. It's crazy, and people were inspired by him without even knowing what he did or who he was. And perhaps that wasn't his only point of adversity, but in a way it was. He knows how privileged and grateful to have had the opportunity, and he laughs about something or someone like me where I'm like, how'd you get that gig? And he really didn't have to do much, unfortunately, for it. And that's what made it so, that voice he put on definitely added character and gave him 10 years, like it aged him 10 years to the point where, like, yeah, he did kind of get passed in and passed off for this and that. And he seemed to have a decade's extra experience when in reality he didn't. So he was not necessarily the most qualified, but he was very well practiced. And the thing is, now that all this conversation's coming up, and he's gonna do this with me right now, he's like, well, when you channel messages, you sometimes do accents, and you never have a stutter. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, kind of like what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, shit. What? I give you Alan Watts, and that's why the mystery deck. I figured it out. I think he started to realize maybe in death or later in life. I think, okay. Honestly, the narrative that I'm getting, the story that he's telling me, is that's what caused him to start drinking so heavily. People thought that he was having issues in his marriage, when really he was becoming so other to his lectures that he was forcing himself to listen back and sometimes not remembering exactly what he was saying, or sometimes it felt like he was listening to someone else and he'd forget that he was listening to his own recordings. And he started to drive himself insane with this stuff where he was just like, what the fuck is going on? And he had no explanation for it, but he thought that he might have a personality disorder because he didn't necessarily have a background in psychology, but he studied it enough and knew it well enough and had gone to therapy in the 60s. It was kind of all the thing. Like, that's, it was still Freud era, but people did it, and so he was a well-educated, well-rounded man. And he was very open-minded, but this was like so beyond his realm of understanding to have been so disconnected from his own voice and his own teachings and his own lectures, even though he never ever told anyone that because he was worried that people would question his mental state and not want to listen to his messages anymore. And he couldn't risk being discredited for his work because he knew what importance it had on everyone, including me, decades after his death. He knew if he came forward in life and tried to say some shit like that, it wasn't going to go well for him. Like, he knew that. Off rip. He knew that. But looking back, and even towards the end of his life, definitely could have been some shit going on, some extraterrestrial activity for sure. He always felt like he was so outcasted and different. Probably has an Aquarius moon, just like everybody else of us do. And I mean, I'm interested in what he's getting at here, but he never really felt like he was abducted necessarily. But he was around 9 years old when he started speech therapy. But it wasn't until he was much older that he was learning these tips and tricks and could master it. But it wasn't until he was even older than that he started experiencing with things like, hallucinogens and even marijuana, cigarettes. It all happened very fast for him. Again, it was like the 50s was time for more barbiturates. I never stutter when I do this. I definitely have a stutter in my life. But I've never stuttered when doing the channeled message. I bet you Alan Watts had a fucking stutter, and I don't think we'll ever be able to verify that because what he's trying to say right now is that he was getting fucked up and having a time, getting drunk. I mean, he was like into absinthe and ether. And that's what they were doing in the late 50s, early 60s. It wasn't really the psychedelic wave until later, and he was getting older at that time, so he was pretty novice to a lot of that stuff when it was really popular. And, he had kids and a wife, so he really took more to alcohol and only tried those things a handful of times. but he did have that recklessness with the barbiturates uh, in the 50s, and started the alcohol in the 40s, because it was such a different era. It was he did way harder drugs in the early days than in his later days, and he became so soft from those things, and that's why he had, I think, so many marriages in a sense. But he definitely, like, of course, there's regrets, but no sense in talking about personal regrets in a public forum, right? So it's just kind of interesting, or whatever, to think back on it all. I suppose it's cool to have the opportunity to talk to someone that you could resonate with, and realize that the extent which you resonate is much deeper than you had originally thought, which was pretty striking to begin with. That's honestly wild. That is, I mean, it's wild. It was bewildering even. So, wow. That's sweet. That's really sweet. I think that's really sweet. But yeah, it seems like unanimously we might suspect Alan Watts was a channel more than anything, and I think he, like, started to piece it together later in life, and it drove him to his death. He went mad before he went down. Didn't go down very well with that last wife. I don't think that's when he became the most kind of abusive. It's not like he picked and chose his wives, but there was it was depending on the substances, so there was that brief period, which things were great, but then it was back to the alcohol and mush, the painkillers and all that. So it was a bad ending, but it was because he descended into madness, and then was very caught up on these. He never really blacked out. That was what tripped him up so badly, is he remembered the whole lecture, and then afterwards just had no idea what he said. And people would try to, like, ask him to elaborate, and he'd have to, like, sit and really connect and think. And it's like, in a way, it's any conversation, but then to know that there's channeling and mediums, that stuff wasn't really hip back then when he was doing his thing. He was before all that wave, like he was at the forefront of that, so he had nothing to go on. So it's just, like, really wild to, like, I don't know, for both of us to exchange that perspective of, like, whoa, we were essentially doing the same thing, but I'm consciously doing it, and know what I'm doing, and he had very little idea. But when you think about Roswell being 47, Buddy doesn't that put it into perspective. So, kind of like, just saying. Let's take this ad break before we call Alan Watts an alien and figure out what we're doing from here, because I feel like we might still talk to him, but we'll see. Okay. What's up, y'all? Probably gonna wrap it up pretty soon here. How's everybody doing? I kind of want to check in with Alan Watts a little bit, at least close it out. I feel like he's got a little more. I mean, okay, so a little more. So that's the whole thing, is just radically different. I always saw myself as spiritual. I considered myself a Buddhist, and
I never once thought that I was connecting to God necessarily or hearing Buddha in my mind, but feeling like I could experience the similar road of Siddhartha, not to become my own Buddha, but to become the teachings that I followed. I was into Taoism. I was into all kinds of meditation and religions that you've probably never heard of from around the world. I never ascribed to one so much, other than the Buddhism was a good cling, so to speak, because I had nothing else to ascribe to or to connect my beliefs or lectures with closely enough outside of Buddhism. So I had a collection of beliefs, um, but the thing was, it was almost like never once would I have imagined it could have been beyond the spiritual realm and into the outer realm, into the domain, the precipice of space, beyond the horizon. I just would have never guessed that for myself. But looking back, of course, it all makes sense. Everything you're saying adds up, and that's exactly it, is probably what I was doing. And then it does make you question your life of how much is you genuinely and how much is them and how much credit do you deserve, but you got all of it. And then if you get no credit, did you deserve any in the first place? But shouldn't you if they did? And I get it. It's a hard thing. But, with this idea that perhaps we are higher beings controlling our human bodies, and so in a sense our higher beings are in a theoretical outer area of the general space, and that we are the operatives behind the wheels of these vehicles that are our carcasses, and so we are motorized, in a sense, beamed controls from said aliens that perhaps are just larger, projected, or more powerful images of ourselves. I think if I'm going to sustain this week, I got to cut him off. Super cool. I knew he was going to be good, dude. It's only been 3.5 hours, but when I do tarot, I do twice as long as streams, but these readings do kind of fucking knock me the fuck out. Oh man, because I get so deep in there, I could get lost in there, bro. I could talk to him for hours, probably. But then when I come to, I'm like, I'm fucking tired. And I was up so late last night for no reason. It's weird. I thought I would be tonight too, and I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm so tired. But I think it's because this is coming as a surprise to me, and I almost, not to be selfish, would like to go sort of meditate on it. It's such a beautiful energy tonight, and even though they've told a various amount of stories, not all positive by any means, there has been so much insight, wisdom, love, and joy shared amongst those tragedies and traumas that it's like more hopeful than anything. Even if they only have hope in a future that they never got to experience, that's like part of the gift of necromancy, is being able to look out for yourself, because there are people who say, yes, there are other ways, and yes, I've seen it all, because yes, I am. Fuck, it's beautiful. All right, y'all. I'm gonna call it. This was a good night. I really enjoyed the night. This was awesome. I really loved it, but I'm instantly tired, and I think that I'll overdo it tonight. We can always talk to anyone anytime. And I think I'm going to get better about recording little messages here and there instead of waiting for a build up. I'm trying to get more comfortable creating actual social media content. I don't really want to discuss it right now, but doing little more clips and using my phone rather than my whole camera setup for things in dealing with tarot. So I am
trying. It's more uncomfortable than talentless, right? I of course I know how, why, when, all that. However, am I comfortable with it? Golly, I don't know. I'm working on it. Working up to it. So hopefully there will be smaller, more bite size, like everybody seems to like. My work, I prefer the, but I get it. So hopefully, instead of draining myself out for 3+ hours, I can people here and there over the next couple months because November is just as spooky as Halloween. All right. This was a really beautiful evening. I really thank you. I didn't even know if you were still here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here all night. You are fun, even if you try to push my buttons. I love all of you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. I hope you come again. Good night, good luck, and have a wonderful midnight morning. I will catch you next time, which I think I decided will be tomorrow when William Shakespeare, Kurt Cobain, and myself write a beautiful fucking sonnet on live Twitch because fuck it, why not? It's kind of what we all decided. Perfect. Mwah. Beautiful, beautimous, bodacious beauty. Beauty, 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 beauty. Big theme. American Beauty, probably. So, mwah. Okay. Love you. End stream. Good night. Sweet dreams.